all esteemed educationists with me today. Hope I'm clear. And if I am, please, if we can show a thumbs up or anyone can acknowledge in the chat, it will be great. Are we good to go? Wonderful. Thank you so much, Parul Mittal, Sonali Verma, Dr. Y.P. Chawla, Rachna ma'am, so on to acknowledge. I see so many people sitting here in front of me, and as a virtual event is there, but I feel I'm having the feel completely of the event that we used to do in our schools, institutions before the lockdown. And I have jitters today seeing all the esteemed level educationists in front of me. Good evening, Hazel, Gaurav Jain, Atul ji, and everyone out there, Shri Bhatia sir, everyone out there whom I can see. Well, as the people are joining, surely we will go with the time and we'll begin. Incredible, incredible. I feel so glad seeing everyone joining us here. You know, IST, Indian Standard Time, was meant to be, somehow people getting late to the events and all, but I feel so good. I feel so good that each one of us are here to begin. That is the power of the educationist. This is incredible. Well, we are having many of our esteemed educationists with us, and we are being joining by many of the educationists from all over from the globe, and it is really a global mission today. It's a wonderful day, momentous day today, that we all are here together, coming for a common cause right there. So, it is said education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world, to change not just the world, to shape the future. And so I guess the best way to build a nation is to build their tribe of educators. I repeat again, as I feel worthy today being an educationist myself. Education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world and shape the future. And to build any nation, it is imperative to build their tribe of growing leaders, educators, to whom we all are seeing right here today. So a round of applause for everyone who joined us today on this wonderful day. And I, Dr. Nancy Janeja, founder RevUp, co-founder MentorX Global, I hereby welcome you all on behalf of my team, all the eminent educators here, as we come together for a common cause. We come together here for revamping the deliverables of education system. Hereby, at MentorX platform, we aim to strengthen the culture of learning and sharing among all of us leaders, to deepen the culture of improving, self-improvement, innovation, and sharing among all of us different learning experience. Our motto, our vision is educate, empower, elevate. And the motto is to achieve the better outcome of each and every student, teacher, the management, all the stakeholders of education. I feel proud, of having seen the education reforms in India as well in various parts of the world closely. And I feel today we all have come together not just to decode National Education Policy 2020, but to open the theme of the conference, the paradigm shift in education. It is the dire need of the situation today. It is the need of the hour to visualize education from an entire new perspective and introspect how we all educators can stay ahead of the curve in upskilling ourselves, in updating ourselves and aligning our knowledge to meet the requirement of current ecosystem of education. At the present scenario, we are facing many challenges since 4 months. And definitely in education sector, we are seeing how our teachers, our educators have all become torch bearers and are doing every bit they can. They're walking an extra mile to make it possible for all the nation to come together, for the students to be the better nation builders. So hats off to each one who is present here. And I feel privileged to open this conference today and to invite you all the esteemed speakers, panelists, and all our educators who have joined us from the different parts of the globe to learn, share better ways, ideas, tools to compete with the changing times, to keep teaching relevant strategies ahead of the time, to keeping the deep-rooted facts of education alive. No matter science and technology have advanced in every level, but let the main crux of education be there always. As we move ahead, we welcome our keynote speaker to open the ceremony with us, Dr. Kawal ma'am, Dr. Kawal Gill ma'am. And ma'am, if you're here. Yeah, so let me just, yes, so ma'am is there with us. And I would love to, tell that while seeing all of you here, it is a esteemed pleasure. And while I invite, probably the first speaker of our conference, I'll say Edu Leader Conference 2020, I feel proud as she has been my mentor. Before reading her profile, I feel proud here to begin the day with her. And I'll say Dr. Kawal Gill, the Associate Professor, Department of Commerce, Shri Guru Gobind Singh College of Commerce, Delhi University. She has been a PhD degree in International Business from Department of Commerce, Delhi School of Economics, Delhi University, so on and so forth. With over 3 decades of experience, she has added to existing teaching pedagogy. She has been actively engaged in developing and coordinating the content for postgraduate courses under EPG Pathshala, NME ICT project of MHRD. Prior to this, she was also appointed as a fellow in commerce by Institute of Lifelong Learning, Delhi University. I would love to tell you all that recently she's been awarded as the Distinguished Woman Award in Commerce by Venus International Women Awards on March 7, 2020. We congratulate you, ma'am, and it's esteemed pleasure and a matter of honor to welcome you all. A round of applause from everyone out here. Let the energy be high, let the energy be high, as we all educationists can spark within us anytime. It's a virtual event, but I feel the same energy as we feel in our schools and our educational institutions. So we welcome wholeheartedly all the educationists as we have Dr. Kawal Gill opening up the day. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. I think you can hear me.
Yes, you're perfect.
You can hear me good, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'm seeing Nancy after 15 years. I taught her in the year 2005 and 6, and she is as bubbly and as, giggling all the time. And she was a good student. It's 15 years now. And I see that, yeah, she's done good work to reach this type of heights, And off and on, we would exchange our notes on Facebook or maybe sometimes on WhatsApp. She would say to, come in contact and something like that. But somehow I was something, sometimes busy here and there. It is just, 1 week ago that she, not one, maybe 10 days, Nancy, right? So she approached me and I said, okay, if you're planning an event like this, then let it be a event this. I gave her my vision. And I'm very happy that she did it that way. And so we are all here. So may I just want to tell you that because my background is for international business. And when she told me that she's looking at some education paradigm shift, then I told her that maybe, yes, we can do that, but then we have to see from the global perspective. So I told her that I like to talk about the global perspective. So I have prepared my presentation, on that note, and I would love to share it with you now. So I'm just sharing my screen with you.
Yes, ma'am. You can share, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it was very apt for me to talk about digital fluency and STEM skills. What is the new normal? And I took a little time in, understanding and making the concept right. So I hope you will see that correctly. So this is the beginning slide. Why there is a digital fluency, why we should need it. I'll be briefly discussing about some phases of industrial revolution, then moving on to the phases of education, then what is the future of jobs, then what are the skills required for future, and the need for reskilling to fill the gap, and how do we revamp our existing education system? What are the strategies that we can do that? So now, if you see the slide, we have steadily moved from Industrial Revolution 1 to 4. Industrial Revolution first, or 1.0, was a time of mechanization, water power, steam power, and this is the time of imperialization, colonization, and then as we move on to the second phase of Industrial Revolution, we looked at mass production, assembly line, and electricity. This is precisely the beginning of the 20th century. Then the third century, in the later half of the second century, we are seeing that the computer and automation has really been moving forward. And right now we are on the verge of, or rather we are in between the third and the fourth phase of industrial revolution, which is called Industry 4.0. So now what has happened in during this time? Now, this is the time as we are moving from the third to the fourth, we see that there are a lot of technologies coming up. And these are the technologies which are having tremendous power, which are, we have a lot of processing power, storage capacities, and the processing of information is very, very fast. So basically what has happened, this is called digital disruption and innovation. So digital disruption here is nothing but is a change that occurs when new technologies and business models affect the value proposition of existing goods and services. So I would like to just tell you very briefly that Amazon and Netflix has changed the way we look at the entertainment or the media. So Amazon being the very first one to open the online bookstores, but now coming up with Prime and coming with the video, Prime Video, it has changed our entire system. It launched various technologies. And same is the case with Netflix. So basically what they have done, they have disrupted the existing entertainment mechanism. So the rapid increase in the use of mobile devices for personal use and work with unprecedented processing power, storage capacity, and access to knowledge has increased the potential for digital disruption. So what are the enablers? Why this digital disruption has happened? Because of this unprecedented processing power, storage capacity, and access to knowledge. And then, you are very, very familiar with the phase of demonetization and COVID-19 as we talk about today. In the phase of demonetization, I think when suddenly there was, we could not make the payment in cash. So we really had to learn how do we download our app and how do we, make use of the digital money. So this is a very good example that, the existing value propositions were challenged by digital disruption. And then a lot of wallets, a lot of companies came up, like Paytm came in, MobiKwik came in, and so many more. And then COVID-19, if I talk about COVID-19, then what has happened in COVID-19, has been a very, very strenuous period for all of us, for, the educators. I'm an educator, so basically I'll talk about myself. So in the 4 months, it was a really real challenge for us to teach, And many of us are familiar with digital technologies and many of us are not. But then we had no option but to adopt to that digital technology. We learn, how to teach on Google Meet platform, then Zoom, and then WebEx and all that, and how we make our presentations and things like that. So basically, you see that digital disruption can occur, and it will create a lot of chaos in the existing value propositions. So now what happens? What are the enabling technologies? Now, enabling technologies are big data, artificial intelligence. You see artificial intelligence just around us. So what it is now, you see that the cabs are being booked, okay? And if you go to the bank, any bank, then there are the virtual assistants, those who assist you. If you're on talking to somebody, then the virtual assistant is really telling you if you talk buying anything on Amazon or Flipkart or anything, then the assistants are there. So basically what is happening that they are making use of this technology. Then robotics, everybody knows about robotics, Internet of Things, then autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, material science, energy storage, cloud computing, virtual reality, augmented reality. Augmented reality is something that I'm really fascinated about. So the other day I just opened my iPhone and I was trying to see as to what are the applications available on augmented reality. And let me just tell you that if you open your your phones, you will see that there are a lot of applications available, and maybe you can take a safari tour at the backyard, at your own backyard. This is happening because of the augmented reality. And then the other thing is that you're also bringing in your own device movement. So bringing in your own device movement here would mean that during lockdown period, we were using our own phones, we were using our, our own devices to work from home and things like that. So this is again an enabler. So after just telling you as to what has happened, now let's talk about where we are now in terms of Education 4. So if you see this, Education 4, it began with Education 1. So Education 1 is nothing but employment trained children for industry. This has happened during the first Industrial Revolution 1, that we were just seeking jobs and we're just getting trained by, just learning few things and taking a job. Then as we moved forward to Education 2, so this is more advanced workers were needed now, ability to read and write. And it was also not the workers were needed, it is also for our personal fulfillment that, we wanted to read and write. So this is how we moved from Education 1 to Education 2. Then we moved on from Education 3 to 4. Now, what is this Education 3? In Education 3, we have used computers and we are using as a tool for industry and many more things. But then still we have not come to Education 4. We are still hanging between Education 2 and 4. Whereas there is already a digital disruption in this particular industry, and there is a very clear-cut indication that we need to move to Education 4. So Education 4 is what? This is empowering education to produce innovation. Okay, so how do you do that? How do you really empower your own educators or students that they come up with certain type of educations? But then the real challenge is that the rapid pace of emergence of Industry 4 requires that Education 4 also leapfrogs from the current Education 2 framework to Education 3 and 4. So that means what? We are in the phase of Industrial Revolution 4, but our education system is lined up in Education 2, right? So, I mean, broadly, if we say that we are lined up here, so but we need to move from Education 2 to Education 4. Then you see this Education 1, this is just chalk and board. But then in Education 2, when you are moving forward, then you're seeing that there are some computers, people are doing few things on the computers. And then in Education 3, we are having an internet access. Okay, but I think we need to go beyond the internet access. We have to create few things. So let me show you some more data. Now you see in January 2020, the digital around the world in 2020. Now, as of now, our, the total population is 7.75 billion. And out of this is 5.19 billion are the unique mobile phone users. And if you say that the internet users are 4.54, and the active social media users are about 3.8 billion users. So what is there? Why I'm quoting this? As we are moving ahead and we are seeing that, the internet users are moving very fast. There's a rate of increases by 7%, and every year there are 298 million people are added for internet users. So there is a very good demand and challenge for us to create resources. So I just found this slide on global digital population. This is the very, very recent figure in July 2020 in billions. We have around 4.57 billion people, those who are active internet users. So what do I mean by this? Why I'm showing you this now? Now see, if we really want that, disruption in education should happen, then what we should do? This is, my cursor is here. I think the figure is not too bright to be seen. But then the first point that if we want, the disruption to happen in the education segment, then what we need to do, we need to commit to the digital training. This is the first thing. We have to commit digital training to our students. So that means we need to have the digital natives at the very first place. Then as we move to point number 2, so point number 2 here means that we want that our students should be given the customized training. Customized training should be there, and not everyone will be taking up a standardized package, but then there has to be a customized training, customized package as per their needs and as per the skills that they want to learn. So we have to do that. And then the next important thing is that we really have to encourage their critical thinking skills, critical creative skills and thinking skills we need to improve upon. And lastly, what we need to do, we have to reinforce their digital skills so that they can go for certain type of jobs or the skill-based jobs. So this is possible only if we, devote our energies towards this side. So now what is happening? The future of jobs. I think we can secure future of jobs only when our education system is very strong. If we have the required digital skills, if we have the required skills, then maybe we can go for jobs, right? So now there is a World Economic Forum. Now World Economic Forum says that there are about 75 million jobs are expected to be displaced. Okay. Now when these 75 million jobs are expected to be displaced because they are not technologically sound, because people don't know, the technicalities or the technical skills they don't have, then these people are bound to lose jobs. But at the same time, 133 million jobs, more jobs will be created. Okay, but how they will be created? If we are moving from, Industrial Revolution 3 to 4, and we're already there, and we are making use of those technologies, the enablers that I've highlighted before. So meanwhile, what is happening? Almost half of the core skills required across all roles will change, and a positive outcome will require skills that are neither currently common in the workforce nor likely to be available in the near future. So we don't know as to what is happening in the future, and what are the technologies that are going to come, what will be the nature of the job, what will be the required skills, we'll be needing. So we are not so sure, but we have to equip our workforce for that. So let me just tell you, what is this World Economic Forum? Now, what is the option as to what is it that we're doing? Now, World Economic Forum was established in 1971 in Geneva. This is an international organization for public and private cooperation. World Economic Forum, they launched a reskilling revolution initiative in January 2020. So I think the very basic point that what do we do with our workers, those who don't know the skills, don't have the skills in the current decade, they'll be displaced. So the option is to reskill them. Okay, so if we reskill them, then how do we do that? So now this reskilling revolution initiative, which is by World Economic Forum, now they have an objective to provide 1 billion people Now, to provide 1 billion people with better education, better skills, and better jobs. Okay, so this is an initiative which has been taken up by the founding governments. USA is one, Russian Federation is another, India, France, Oman, then Pakistan and UAE. They are and many more partners are there. And then along with this, there are having some business partners like PwC, Infosys, Coursera, LinkedIn, Edico Group, Salesforce, Manpower Group. Now, all these people are doing what? They are pledging that, okay, we are going to reskill our people. We are going to reskill something like 1 billion, some number is given, and then they're going to do this. For example, Coursera says that we are going to train something like 10 million people. In our college also, in our institutions also, Coursera has come up with a policy to give free licenses. And then they're encouraging students to, take up the job-related skills courses so that, the jobs become really possible. So LinkedIn is the partner, and Edico Group is again has committed that, all right, we are going to train something like 5 million people. Then Salesforce and all these business partners, they're going to train some people. So then there is another thing that they have this initiative which calls Closing the Links Gap Accelerated Model. So this is again, how is that they're going to do this? This is with lifelong learning and upskilling is the model. And then you have a proactive deployment and re-employment, innovative skills, funding model, and skills anticipation and jobs insight. So if these 4 things are they are in the part of this accelerated model, so all these governments, all these groups are talking about these models, and then they are cooperating among each other, and then every effort is being made to reskill the existing population so that they can be re-employed. Now this is again as per the World Economic Forum, as you see in 2015 and 20, the top 10 skills required: complex problem solving, critical thinking, whereas if you see creativity has come up at number 3 position, but in 2015 creativity was last. Okay, so now you see that the complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, now these are the top skills that are needed. And then emotional intelligence was earlier not there, but then it is picking up in the list. So that means we are looking at a person who can deliver. Okay, so then very quickly, I will move to, this is the Schools of Future report. This is also shared by World Economic Forum, and this report came in 2019. And it says that if you really want your Education 4 framework to work, then, what do you want to do, and how is that we can do? And how we can really find examples for schools for the future? Because when we want to find some examples, so accordingly we can adopt the similar technology, similar patterns for the remaining schools. So this is the key criteria for schools to be considered included: alignment with education for network, potential for scaling up, a multi-stakeholder approach to design and implementation, and also a school which demonstrated improvement in student outcomes across access to learning or learning experiences. So they came up with this Schools of Future report. And let me just tell you that this is the world map, and you see that the title is your country, how do you characterize the style of teaching? So the more you go towards the dark blue, that shows that you're interactive, and more you have, the lighter shade, that means you are more passive. So passive would mean that again, it is the chalk and board, and what is the standardized mode of teaching we're not adopting. And you look at the place of the dark color countries, you see in Australia, you see in North America, and then some part of China, then you see some part of the Scandinavian countries, they're having an interactive mode. Whereas if you look up at India, we are not too dark and not too light, but that means we are progressing towards, the interactive mode of teaching. Okay, so World Economic Forum, they selected something like 16 case studies, and every 2 case studies could fit in that particular model. And in our case also, Pratham is, Pratham, I think everybody knows, everybody has heard of Pratham model. This is the Pratham's hybrid learning program. Now, this is the case, this is the school that they have been, it has been selected to be the future school. And you know, what is there that in this particular hybrid learning program, what has happened? That the natives and the children of about 1,000 villages come together. And in this particular program, there are no teachers, only the facilitators, only the learners, and then you are just learning by doing certain things. And then whatever content you have, you know, you're translating in 11 regional languages. And also, Pratham has developed a customized app which includes games, quizzes, reading material, and so on. So now the program is being funded by, I mean, there is no government funding coming up from anywhere, but it is entirely supported by foundations of corporate donors, including Google, Vodafone Foundation, Dubai Cares, and so on. And you know, with this kind of a thing, they are able to deliver learning at a cost of about $3 per child per year. Now, this is a very, very significant figure that if Pratham can do it with this kind of figure, then I think we can also do it. We can also think of revamping our own, you know, the government schools. So this is the location. I mean, this is the location of all the 16 schools, those who were selected to be the future, you know, models for schools. So this is very quickly that I've shown you. So now, what is there? What are the skills that we need if we need to move from Industrial Revolution 4? This is 4.9, this by mistake, it's written here. So 8 critical skills required for moving from Industrial Revolution to Education 4. So this is global citizenship skills. I think this doesn't figure up anywhere, but at least our students are bothered. But global citizens, you know, the skills would mean that, you know, students are in general accountable as to what is happening in the world. Where is their sensitivity lying in, you know, in understanding the globe, in understanding the problems of the world. Then the second is the innovation and creativity skills. Then you have the technology skills. Then you have interpersonal skills. Then you have personalized and self-paced learning. Now, this is very, very important. I think this is figuring up nowhere. And then you have the accessible and inclusive learning. So problem-based and collaborative learning, lifelong and student-driven learning. So these are some of the skills that we require if we really want to move from you know, Industry 4 to Education 4. So I think everybody here, most of you are educationists, so you must be knowing that India has opted for Sustainable Development Goals. So there is a framework for Sustainable Development Goals, and there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And then there is a framework of OECD, which talks about that there is an overall well-being that has to be taken care by the learning. So the learning should give you a complete well-being. Now, well-being will be defined in terms of jobs, income, housing, work-life balance, then safety, life satisfaction, health, civic engagement, and so on. So education is another one. So now these are, you know, the goals which are going to be fulfilled if we are taking the concept of a well-being. Okay, so we see here that number 4. Yeah, quality education figures in number 4. Now, quality education is a part of the Sustainable Development Goals. And then you see here that this is going to match if we take up the concept of a well-being, then we are going to attain this goal also. So very quickly, this is OECD is also, I think everybody knows, this is Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. They have come up with a report, which is Future of Education and Skills, and they are doing a project, and this is, you know, in 2 phases. One phase is over, and the second phase is still continuing. But then I like their statement when they say, how can we prepare students for jobs that have not yet been created, to tackle societal challenges that we cannot yet imagine, and to use technologies that have not yet been invented? How can we equip them to thrive in an interconnected world where they need to understand and appreciate different perspectives and worldviews, interact respectfully with others, and take responsible action towards sustainability and collective well-being? So now you please understand that we really want are, the students and all over, whether the school students or the university students, that we want really students to act sensibly and accept the sustainability and the well-being dimension into their learning process. So what are the challenges as of now, where we are, and what are the challenges that we face? So at present, if we say that, when students come to class, then we really have, there's a challenge that we really have to teach the Google learner. Our students, they are very fast now, they are learning the technologies, and then, they want to, we'll be teaching the Google learner, and then there will be a walk with a diverse student body. You have to really work with that. Then you have to prepare students for jobs requiring digital skills. Then you have to use, some sophisticated tools, and then you have to connect teaching in the needs of communities. And this is the last slide. So I think how our future education learning flows would be. Now we have to move from episodic learning to continuous learning, from assigning to endorsing content, from content conveyors to content curators, from working one scale to working up and down the scale, and from gates to continuous feedback mechanism, and from lecture halls to the collaborative spaces. I think this is a real challenge that we have to face. And I think if everybody is here, if you see your own, the new education policy, then you will see that somehow we have taken many things from all the points that I have discussed here. So, but I'm not going into, the new education policy, because I feel that other experts are there, they will be discussing it. So my motive was to give you, the global angle as to what and how we can go to education 4.0. So I think that's all from my side. And thanks all for a patient listening. And yes, you can contact me at my email address if there is any.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am. Great insights indeed. And, I feel great that, yes, we have gone deep rooted, and I feel the knowledge each one of the educationists and you have here, if we start discussing, trust me, we are creating a momentous another policy here after NEP 2020. So it is
quite likely.
Indeed, wonderful. Thank you so much. As we move ahead, I would love to tell you that we have the educators, not just from the schools, universities from India, but all over from the globe. It feels good that in present times, when we say it is hard times, we got the opportunity to connect to hook and hook of the globe. And today, I would love to welcome so many of us who have joined us here. I see many people, I cannot tell the name. We have just joined by Mr. Ved Prakash Tandon. He's the Vice President of Action Committee of Private Schools in Delhi, and the Chairman Kamal Model School. And there's so many. We have Mr. Jain, we have Mr. Gaurav Gupta, Ms. Hazel, so many from the school industry, and side by side I see so many faces from the university. I see IGNU, IP, Amity, Delhi University, the CBSE schools, IB schools, and then the industry leaders, the corporates today joining us here. It is indeed a wonderful, phenomenal moment, and I take honor to thank you, Kaval ma'am, and we'll tell all of you to be there with us till the closing ceremony. There's much to go from MENTORx team. And now I take privilege to welcome among us Dr. Mangat Bansal. Dr. Mangat Bansal, who is all the way from Sydney, Australia. And I will definitely, I'm grateful to sir because the time there is, they're about to sleep. And still you have made a time to come here and join all the educators. So deeply humble, sir. We welcome here Dr. Mangat Bansal, co-joined senior lecturer, New South Wales University, Australia. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm thankful to you guys and Dr. Y.P. Chawla and the team also. To introduce myself, I am Mangat Bansal, did my master's from Punjab University, Chandigarh. And later on, I did a PhD from Birmingham University, UK. I was associate professor in Punjab University, then migrated to Sydney and joined as a research fellow and later joined as a senior hospital scientist. I was teaching in the University of New South Wales. Now at this stage, I am retired. COVID-19 started in March. Restrictions on movement and social distances were in place. Hopefully you are all safe and sound from COVID-19 effect. I like to, your association does facilitate interaction by education, empower and elevate. It shares resources, programs. It's providing the best skills by workshops, relies on personal business vision and bringing one's expertise together. And especially the Women of Global Solidarity initiative to recognize, repeat, honor and celebrate. And by embracing diversity, we can change the world. MENTORx is connecting and converging people globally and make them evolve. Having seen the education reform in various parts of the world, I feel that India has done well in bringing new education policy to align the education in India and with world education. Let me share how education has been handled during COVID-19 pandemic. Schools opened in July, on 21st July. Earlier, the same education curricula was taught at home but online. The universities are not yet opened, but studies are continuing online. Thank you very much. It's my sleep time also, but anyway, thanks for giving me time also to introduce myself.
Deeply
Thank
humble,
you.
sir. Deeply humble.
Yeah,
That is
thank
the
you very
power
much,
of,
yeah.
that is the power of being an educationist. No matter it's your
Yeah.
sleeping time, you made sure that you came here. And
Yeah.
it is a global moment. We need all your support to make
Yeah.
not just Indian education, but global education turning to be really dream for every child.
Yeah. YP Chawla
Thank you,
was
sir.
instrumental in bringing me here.
Indeed, sir. Deeply humble to Dr. YP Chawla. He's honorary mentor with MENTORx Global, and he's doing every bit to take us to the next level. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
that's
joining
right.
us.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, sir. So as we move ahead, I would love to, invite our next speaker, Miss Rinku Gautam. She is the Controller of Finance from, so we have Dr. Rinku Gautam with us here. And we love to welcome her from GGSIP University, Indraprastha University, New Delhi. She has wide experience. She's wide experience and I guess almost 3 decades of experience in education, as well as she's seen closely working with educators all over from the globe. Over to you, Rinku ma'am.
Sure. Hi. Thanks for the introduction, Dr. Nancy. Thank you so much. My warm greetings to all present here. It's a privilege to address this august gathering of intellectuals. I would like to congratulate the MENTORx for organizing this summit on the most desired issue, paradigm shift in education. As this is a context-setting session, I'm sure with all the eminent educators present, we shall be in a position to address the issues more comprehensively. Most of the notable things have already been informed here by Dr. Gill very beautifully, and the technical part of it also. So I'll just touch upon the issues for which I also feel very strongly. So COVID, another epidemic, this has on one hand forced the world to halt and do some introspection on our lifestyle and other issues. It has also made us look at the existing standards, perspectives, and set of ideas, the core concepts and practices followed by us of a given area or discipline. If I talk about the education from a different perspective, before the lockdown, I used to think that my child should be ahead of the teachers and a pre-learner to be taught in the class. But now, being in the university and being connected to every subject school teachers very closely and the colleges, I really feel that the teachers are to be ahead of the students, and they stay ahead of the curve in making the technology savvy in knowledge and delivery. The classrooms or even the homes of the teachers are to be ready for online teaching. The classrooms are required to be technologically upgraded with automated devices and designed keeping in view the safeguards of the pandemic. I have observed in the past few months that some institutions have conveniently shifted their role and switched over to online teaching, whereas the others are still dealing with the trivial or basic issues to handle the situation and get go. So one of the basic requirements which I feel to accommodate this change would be investment in the infrastructure, mainly the automation and digitalizations. Besides the institution, I feel that the government also need to invest a lot in the education, especially to digitalize, so that digital education reaches across all places, including the remote and rural areas. One of the outcomes of this paradigm shift would be that due to this computer generated learning, that virtual teaching, now there'll be little or lesser contact with the students. And in the absence of the direct contact between them, I think teachers have to shed the role of an instructor and assume a role of an educator, which is much more comprehensive than a teacher. They have to intellectually, morally, and socially instruct and see that the student is getting the information in a way it is desired. So accordingly, then comes next is the method of assessment. So assessment of the student, where it is concerned that the teachers have to devise psychological methods to assess the students online in the class. The lessons have to be carefully drafted to invite quick response from the students. The focus should not be on not on the marks, but the skills which the student is acquiring. So curriculum has to be dynamic with more of a quick response generating syllabus. Lab practicals, they can be done in short batches to maintain the social distancing. So classroom also needs to be changed. There can be shorter, smaller classrooms also, because the batches would be small. So it all depends on the mentors, the teachers, that they have to make the virtual classrooms an attractive learning come fun center to make it work a success, whether it's a school or a university. I think that's gonna be a need. Next comes the parity of the curriculum and syllabus of the institutions at institution level or higher level, wherever feasible, which appears to be need of the hour. So if we have a parity of the curriculum, then probably it will help the movement of a student as well as the educator, as well as it enhances the gamut of the validity of degree across borders, so that the movement would be smooth. And yes, one of the important issue which is always on the back of my mind, but it may not be seen as an intrinsic part here, but Mrs. Gill has addressed it very nicely, is the linkage of education system with the employment opportunities, so that a pass out student shall not take a paper degree, but something more with him or her at the time of graduating the university. I feel that to make our next generation of teachers stay ahead, the teachers have to emphasize on the need to focus on their ability to continuously adapt to the changes, to team up with the others in that process, and most importantly, retain their core sense of identity and values. So as University of Future, we have to ensure that it's not just acquiring knowledge by the students, but also about how to learn. For the rest of us, we should remember that intellectual complacency is not our friend, and that learning not just new things, but new ways of thinking is a long life endeavor. So I close down. There is a lot to say on the subject. So thank you so much for a patient learning. Thank you.
Indeed grateful, ma'am. It's been great learning from you. And I'll say that definitely it is a context setting session, and nothing better than having, the galaxy of educators, the global confluence of educators here with us today at MENTORx Global. And you rightly put together, ma'am, that we need to get equipped with the new age norm towards e-learning. We need to get equipped to the digital transformation using the multidimensional digital tools, and very rightly put together by all, Dr. Gill and Dr. Bansal, that we need to link the education education system with employability. After all, the objective of education system is to not just to prepare the children from of a job ready perspective, but even from the life ready perspective. So let's see, moving ahead, how we can unfold this discussion. So moving ahead, I feel privileged to welcome Dr. Rachna Agarwal. Dr. Rachna Agarwal is the assistant
Good
professor.
evening, Nancy, and everybody who's joined.
Yeah, very good evening, ma'am. So Dr. Rachna
Can you
Agarwal
hear
has, yes, ma'am, we can hear you. And it's indeed a pleasure to welcome you here. And, being the assistant professor of IGNOU University, New Delhi.
Thank you so
being a-
much.
You have served a lot, and that this is the true recognition of educationists, that they don't want to hear probably high words about themselves, and they just want to get to the point, to the crux of situation. So over to you, Rachna.
Oh no, thanks so much. It's a delight and indeed my pleasure and honor to be here with you all today. And I really thank Dr. Nancy and MENTORx for allowing me and giving me this opportunity. I would definitely put forward my view and my experiences also in this interesting topic of paradigm shift and out of box. Why of box? Why should we go out of box at all? Because we feel so safe and we feel so convenient in the box. Whatever is our main is inside the box. So why at all would strive to go out the box? It is so risky, and why should we take this risk? And it is so uncertain, But here, the era in which we today, we are facing challenges, situations which we have never faced before. Okay, and then we are forced to move out of box. It's not by choice, it is by compulsion that we are forced to innovate. We are being forced to redefine choices. Okay, so this topic I found a little interesting to talk about, and I, as a child, I have had my experiences. I was a very curious child, and I used to, I would not buy toys just to play with them. I would try to break them, see them, what is inside that is causing machine, the motors to move. So where has that mind of mine gone? Sometimes I wonder, why am I not doing and questioning the environment, the things which are there today? Because who is to be blamed? Who is to be blamed for not only my mind, my childhood thinking, but for, I think, so many children who are every day, who are, whose minds are like time bomb. They are way to explode. They are full of new ideas. They are waiting to explode. They want somebody to listen to and to answer their queries. Okay, but what do we do? What does our education system, what has it done with us? It has just forced to memorize, to repeatedly revise the syllabus, to focus only on the things which our teachers have taught us, and to just follow the line. So all this while, 20, 25 years, what we are doing is just following the instructions, taking the information, memorizing, and recapitulating this information again and again. This is what we as a student do. This is what we as a teacher do to our students. Okay, so where we faltered, we have faltered in killing the minds, the fertile minds. We have faltered killing the fertile minds. We would have bloomed, which were full of ideas. Like after 20, 25 years, when I went for to our place, and I went to IIT to do my PhD, and there I was a good student. I had scored a lot of marks, and teachers say, ask me like, oh, you want to do such? So what ideas you have? What's the new ideas you have? So I was like, ma'am, I have put this much, and I will think. So she said, no, you have to have ideas, and then we have to approve. So you share your ideas. But then this is why I was just memorizing and scoring. So I was a very good student. I was scoring good marks. But you see the brain has two parts, I believe, the left and the right. So right is of memory, the left is of innovative thinking, I believe. And what I did, I converted my left, which was of innovative thinking, also in right. So all the both sides of the mind were just memorizing. So I killed my own brain for innovative ideas. So this is now the time. This is high time. We have had a launch of education policy yesterday with our Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Modi, that okay, we are now going to emphasize on creative thing, innovative thing. Okay, and then we are going to bring skill-based knowledge. So what I want to say here, request all teachers here is please encourage your students. As a teacher, it is our duty to encourage the students to indicate thinking and let the ideas come. Let them give participate with their ideas to us. There will be absurd ideas, but there will be very brilliant ideas also. I am very sure. And it is, as a teacher, it is our duty that we give them the direction. Okay, the imagination is wild. Harry Potter is full of imaginations for the children today. But their imagining be given a proper direction. So this is my request to all academicians, educationists here. So we are getting on a global level and a platform where my voice can be heard as an educationist. Also, I am currently assistant professor in IGNOU, and in being in IGNOU is actually a blessing because we are exposed to so many different modes of teaching. We use radio, we use online teaching, we use Gyan Darshan, we use Gyanra, we have free radio, everything. So we have a rich platform to begin with. So all other university teach, I think not that early, but being in we are now there is a big movement that all this learning programs courses are being converted to online. So we are making video. We are we are going and bound just to provide information, knowledge, and our courses programs to the unreached, to the remotest areas, and most of our platforms are free. In case you want a certificate, you can submit the fee. Otherwise, you can enroll for the courses and you gain knowledge in any area. So this is about sort of the beginning for the out of box. Uh, I have been given two things. One was the paradigm shift, also along the out of thinking. So paradigm shift, as generally have been in a paradigm only. Like what is a paradigm? We all know it is like a framework of unwritten rules which directs our actions. So we all have to follow. This is a paradigm. We teach the same course years and years again and again. So this is kind of a paradigm or a norm for all educationists. And this paradigm is a set model. It's a pattern which is copied again and again. Okay, so now the time is for the shift. So what happens? Like paradigm shift is when one paradigm loses its influence either by choice or by force. So something which we are doing again in our a pattern of thinking is which was that is being now replaced in a new and different way. So I will take a quick 2-3 minutes to just make 2 points that what paradigm shift how it takes place, this is say it's from classroom teaching, online teaching is a paradigm shift. Conventional subject to skill oriented is a paradigm shift. regular change to innovative and critical thinking paradigm shift. Making doctors and engineers was the old paradigm. The new is to create interest, ability, and demand-driven workforce. Understand facts was the older paradigm. Now is inquiring and analyzing the facts. Repetitive teaching has now shifted the paradigm to reskilling, upskilling. So all educationists should reskill and upskill themselves. Now there are certain challenges which we all face. Obviously, when we are going in for a new paradigm or we go for a new paradigm, there is a flood of challenges. You all know that. So these challenges for any teacher for that matter can be, or a student can be like fear of isolation or boredom. There can be faced with technical difficulties. There can be lack of hands-on or practical training, and there is a lack of proper know-how or research. What I mean this is that many students who inherently want to do art course or some inventory course, they don't know where to find it. So there is a lack of knowledge. But all we can find these courses, which university which is giving these courses, and there is also lack of seriousness and attentiveness because children, it is very difficult to make them sit and keep listening to the screen. It is a screen, so it's very difficult to make them sit and do that unless and until you have some animation coming all the time. So there is lack of attentiveness and seriousness. There is also a problem of time management and this lack of discussion. So how can these challenges be overcome? Please try to make the course interactive. Okay, and we in IGNU we use a lot of media, we use a lot of pictures because just what picture can a paragraph cannot tell and it cannot grasp that well. So pictorial form, animation forms, because that is what attracts students, and then use updated devices, give personal attention, and enhance the marketing of courses. You have to find new ways because if we were in a private business, we would develop our website, which is free. We would have advertised our businesses on that. Don't we do that as a teacher? We can advertise our businesses, we make websites. Then we can evolve techniques to keep students engaged. We can give them personal attention. We can increase the number of activities and the practical sessions to keep them engaged. And we can encourage participation and questioning from the students. This way, their interest is enhanced and they feel funded, they feel connected to the screen. I would say screen again and again because the teacher is there in front of them. It is the screen which they are looking at. And then please incorporate disseminators in your courses wherever possible. So thank you very much. Thank you, mentors. And I hope I have been able to convey small talk and my feeling also. Thank you.
Indeed, indeed, deeply humbled, Dr. Rachna Agrawal. It is really indeed wonderful to hear from you, heart to heart from an educator, that how we can make interesting classrooms. And definitely, you know, I'll say that knowledge is mandatory being an educator, but skill and aptitude, attitude have to be tapped time and again. And rightly said by you, if students cannot learn the way we are teaching, we need to teach in the way they can learn. So that's the true recognition, and very nicely explained the basic things that we can introduce probably in the education system. Thank you so much for joining us. As we move ahead, I guess Yeah, we are raising the bar with each of the educationists here. As you know, today we are decoding not just the NEP 2020, but we are making it clear for all the stakeholders, be it students and laymen also, not just educators, to all the parents and to common people who have heard about education policy bits and bits. But today we've probably speaking, all of you speaking together, we are clearing the deep root levels of education and the mainstream, what should be done to get in force the main role of educationist in a child's growth, and as well the teachers. So moving ahead, very impressive presentation so far. And now we go to Dr. Nisht Mishra. He's the assistant professor for Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Management and Research, New Delhi. We welcome you, sir, here, as each one of you is coming with a different knowledge altogether. I guess this is the most premium institutes of Delhi. And today we are seeing the amalgamation of university and school coming together. It is a unique combination, as I've never had attended any summit when we all come together, leaving our designation, but to the prime cause, common cause of elevating the education. So over to you, sir.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you're perfectly audible.
Good,
yeah.
Thank you. So, good evening to all. My warm greetings and regards to all the participants, eminent speakers, panelists, and thanks to Dr. Baipi Chavla sir for giving me this opportunity to speak before you. And thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. So I am just going to start with my presentation before say thanks to this particular topic, because this is new paradigm shift in education. So other speakers have had some light on it. Let me just say why and how. These are the two things which are there, the part of your theme. So why to invest in yourself to compete with changing times and keep teaching relevant studies ahead of times. Similarly, there is a how. So there are two questions marks, why and how. These are being put. So it is a wonderful effort by you in terms of designing your program. So I say thanks and congratulate you to you and all of your team, MENTORx. Why it is required to invest? Basically, you need to know where you will stand and what new things you will be capable of doing tomorrow. So that is the one thing which one has to understand. Be it a school teacher, be it college teacher, be it anybody else, right? So this is the fundamental thing. We need to invest something or the other for our career, right? We need to invest something for our student also. If we don't improve ourselves, if we don't improve in terms of the content delivery, if we don't improve in terms of the kind of motivation required, if we don't improve in terms of what actually the demand is in the near future and what kind of challenges are there. So we need to prepare ourselves accordingly, right? So without working on ourselves and improving ourselves every day, it would not be possible. So we need to work on constant and continuous basis. It is not like that you are improving today and tomorrow you are forgetting it. It means it is the constant and continuous process which is to be, which is to be done on continuous basis. You cannot leave it. And what kind of investment you are going to make as far as the teaching is concerned, as far as the mentoring is concerned. As I have told earlier, that whether it is school teaching or college teaching, higher teaching, lower teaching, it doesn't matter. You as a mentor are going to give something to the students who are coming for knowledge, right? So when you are going to have that exchange of knowledge, it means you are going to invest in that knowledge also. From where you are going to get that knowledge? Sometime it is going to be the new knowledge, sometime it is going to be the something in the form of refreshing thing. So there are going to be various things which are to be done in terms of knowledge. So we need to do this thing constantly. It is not like that we are doing something in a particular time or in the COVID time or maybe some special time or maybe some special preparation. Knowledge is an ongoing process for a teacher, right? Wherever she is teaching. Then there is going to be one kind of investment which we generally overlook. That is investing in our health. when we work as a teacher for say 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, depending on the kind of, and some faculty working and then they're traveling also, that also gets counted in their overall working time. So if they're working for 8 hours in an institute or in a school, and then they're traveling for 1 or 2 hours, it means they're going to work for 10 hours or maybe more than that. And at the very same time, in the cities like Delhi and other metro cities, we are going to have a different kind of environment. What I mean is different kind means a lot of pollution, traffic and other different conditions which are going to have a kind of problem with your health. So we need to invest in our health. I'm not going to ask the simple thing like we need to take proper diet, we need to take any good sleep or something like that. I'm just going to talk about, just ask about yourself, what are the problems going on with you and how you are going to overcome it. We should not overlook it. So as a academician, I understood it, and prior to my this eminence in academics, I was in corporate. So I used to travel a lot. 17, 18 years I was in the corporate, and I worked with the companies like Pyramid Infotech, Smith Medimed, and Sarah Surgicals. These were the multinational kind of brands. So I had that kind of experience also, and I have that experience also, which belongs to the teaching institutions. You have a lot of stress sometime because of the certain things which are to be done in a given time frame, and maybe certain things related to the students, or maybe the kind of engagement you want, maybe something which is there along with teaching, which is known as administrative work. So that comes to your health. So my focus is on this, that you should be very, very careful about your health, and there has to be the proper investing. When you are going to talk about the investment, other than the financial, social, economical, right, maybe certain other things in the form of investment, but you need to be very, very careful about this health also. Then there is one important investment which I would love to discuss, is that is the relationship. We generally have a lot of networking kind of tools available today, and we also have different kind of relationship platform where we can make relationship. But do we really understand what is the relationship? So for that relationship, you need to work and live with that relationship. How many people are there whom you can say that these are the people who can be called in the odd hours, right? If need be, these can be called, be it the financial matter, be it the any other matter. So that kind of relationship is very much required, because we talk a lot about other teaching things, student improvement and others, because everything starts from your home. If you are not good in health, if you are not having good environment and atmosphere at your home, and if you are not having any good social connect, so that all comes to your overall personality as a teacher. So I always emphasize on it, and try to speak whenever I get opportunity, right? So investment in the family is also required, because that is also linked with the kind of relationship. If you are moving for a school or college, and if you are having some problem at home, be it in terms of relationship or something else, so that is going to uh, travel throughout the day in your mind. So we need to work on this. And once you do all these things, you need to have some kind of actions. If you don't do those actions, you cannot expect outcome. So rather you are saying that I'm going to have good care of my health, I'm going to maintain good relationship, I'm going to get good knowledge just by attending workshops, seminars, and different continuous education programs or something like that. It is not going to work. So what you're going to do is that you are going to convert into action. So that action is not required in terms of action plan, it is required in terms of its implementation. Then you can expect some kind of outcome, and that will be in the form of return on investment, be it knowledge, be it health, be it relationship, be it relationship in family, or overall investing in the family. So these are the important things we should not overlook. And I generally ask one question to almost everyone whom I interact with. If you don't, then who else? If you don't invest, then who will do it? If you are having health problem, if you are having relationship problem, if you are having knowledge problem, then who is going to work on it, right? Simply putting all these things on paper are not going to work. So you need to take your first step, and it is to be done alone, right? Later on, you can get some help from others, but in the beginning, you need to work on by your own. One other important thing which I generally discuss with the colleagues is, particularly the teaching fraternity, that you should be vocal for local. What is the understanding of this vocal for local? Recently, our honorable Prime Minister, said this term vocal for local. But I just, linked with the education system and the people who are, there with you as a team, or maybe in a group, or maybe in an institution, or maybe somewhere else. So what you are going to do is that whenever there is a problem, just try to discuss with them. You may be looking for some, suit and tie kind of event, that when you can interact with those people who are very, senior, who are very knowledgeable, or maybe something like that. But did you ever think about that somebody who is sitting with you adjacent, in the cabin, and she may be having good knowledge about it, which you are looking for, so for that, what you can do is that you can, just discuss with them. And this is one of my experience I would like to share with all of you, that recently I interacted with, in this COVID time with most of my colleagues, and I learned a lot of tools and things with them only, for which I was planning to attend certain workshops. So just, try to search who can help you, and who are having that kind of knowledge which is actually required by you. So make, some kind of list related to things which you wish to plan, or which you wish to, complete in next 5 or 6 months time, and that will really help you. Rather going for, what I call suit and tie kind of event, you can have somebody who is sitting in the adjacent cabin, and you just approach him or, and you will be getting the solution, right? And try to always maintain relationship with the like-minded people, and if it can be maintained with others, that is also going to be good. Whenever you are going to get opportunity, right, try to add new skills with you. This is the requirement of time. You cannot live without new skills. You need to, increase your new skills, right? When you are going to develop new skills, and you are going to add new skills to your profile, certainly this is going to open new doors for you, be it leadership, management, creativity, communication. Lot of, for teachers, there is going to be the research, analysis, and various other things which are related to the teaching fraternity. So these things can be done. And one more important thing which I would like to emphasize is that that workload is not for you. You focus on the workload. See, you are working as a university system, there may be 14 or 16 hours workload for you, depending on your designation. Maybe working in a school, so there may be some kind of workload, right? Don't try to, do everything which is, available there, right? So what you can do, you can start practicing no, right? And that practicing no is not like that I'm talking about, that you say to your boss, or to, director, or to, who is going to be the immediate authority. That is not my focus. My focus is, there are a lot of things which can be, said like no. So saying no to the people who are not of much importance. Activities, there are so many activities which are now, which are of no use. There are various events where there is no requirement. Maybe somebody is saying, let us go and publish one research paper in this journal. If that is relevant to you, if it belongs to your area, right? And does it belong to the research scholar whom you are guiding? So there are a lot of things which can be decided. Just for the sake of publishing a paper, or maybe something like that, there is nothing to do in that. And you can save a lot of time just by, following this practicing no. So saying no to others means saying yes to yourself. If you are going to say no, it means you are going to save some time for you. And again, I repeat, this no is not negative. This no is positive. If you are going to say no, and somebody who understands you, they will also, say thanks later on, that you said rightly at that point of time. and I should also follow this kind of, practicing no in my, career.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. It's
And I would,
indeed, yeah,
uh,
sir.
can I continue?
Yeah, sir, for a
I will,
little while.
I would take only 2 minutes more.
Sure,
There are,
sir, sure.
there are a lot of problems which are there in the, teaching and learning kind of, environment. So we
I
need to
know, and when
focus.
you are an educationist, we get emotional and we just go on discussing the problems. And today is the
I
summit
will,
when we all are coming together to, concentrate on the crux and the solutions too. So we
okay.
look forward for that also. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So our job is to shape, guide, direct, mentor our students. For that, we all are ready. As a teacher, we all understand our responsibilities and all that. But in this time, what I would call is the challenging time of our times is that there are a lot of things which are there in the form of, say, technology which are being used, right? So we are on the virtual platform most of the time. We are interacting with the students. We need to, give them quality education, but there are certain hurdles, there are certain problems, technical glitches. We are sitting sometime in the dark room. We don't know who is present there in the class. So these are the kind of challenges, and we should look forward, such as like bandwidth is a problem. There are so many other problems also related to it. Since we are short of time, so I would wrap up shortly, and I would say thanks to all of you, and thanks to Baipi Chawla sir for giving me this opportunity to speak to all the uh, eminent panelists, to all the wonderful participants here in this
Indeed,
event.
indeed, sir.
So I say
Thank
thank
you
you
so
very
much, sir.
much to Nancy ma'am and to
Yeah.
Chawla sir and to the all participants.
Yeah,
Thank you once again.
wonderful. So, entire MentorX team has been working relentlessly to hold this conference and to get the galaxy of the educators here. So, we value each of your time, sir, and thank you so much for the great insights. As you rightly covered, that we are facing many challenges, and frankly, in today's time, we have seen all the challenges since the 5 months, and now I feel we have the habit, being an educationist, to turn every challenge into another new opportunity, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So moving
Thank you.
ahead to the next speaker and the contributor, I proudly welcome Dr. Tanveer Navid, Joint Head and Associate Professor, Amity University. I could say he's such a versatile leader and educationist and a support for the entire MentorX team for all our endeavors. He's an honorary mentor on board with us. And over to you, sir. I would love if you throw light upon how is Amity and how is the university level education transforming in this present era.
Very good evening to one and all. Am I audible, Dr. Nancy?
You're perfect, sir.
Thank you very much. At the outset, I'm highly grateful to Dr. Nancy, Dr. Munish, and entire team of MENTORx and RevUp for inviting me and organizing this very valuable conference. And I think it is the most appropriate time for organizing such conference because indeed the education is at the paradigm shift. 4 months back, we can recall, everybody knows that due to pandemic, we faced a lot of problem, and it was really a challenge, especially for the higher education also, to continue the education in the best possible manner. And yesterday we heard Honorable Prime Minister at the start of the national education policy, and there is a roadmap of another 10 to 15 years. But today I would like to focus the student perspective because we are going through a very unprecedented phase where the remote teaching is probably the only mode which we can uh, deliver our lectures, deliver our content to the students, and it may be continue for certain period of time also because there is a less probability of opening of colleges and schools in just a forthcoming time. It may take some time, and we have to focus that in the given 40 minutes 45 minutes what best we can deliver as a faculty, as an educator, as a teacher, because generally in the higher education we have 5 to 6 lecture per day, and if every teacher take 50 minutes for giving the PowerPoint presentation, let's say. So sometimes it is difficult to student for grasp the thing and keep the everything understanding in that continuous 6 hours and maybe a break of 1 hour. So I have few suggestion, and it's a policy decision by our university also to implement a certain ideas, so that each faculty can inculcate some of these ideas or maybe all the ideas during their lecture, one during one lecture or two aspect, or maybe all three if possible, because generally we have 40-50 lectures of particular course to complete the syllabus. So this is the ideas I would like to share on one single slide, Dr. Nancy. I hope it will be.
Yes, sir, you can share it.
Are you able to see, Dr. Nancy?
Yes.
So this is the idea of 4 quadrants. I'm talking about the in context of remote teaching, which is going on across the country, probably in the higher education as well as at the school level also. But I'll focus more to the higher education, where the maturity level of the student is much higher than the school children. So in the quadrant 1, this is just one idea that can be incorporated during the lecture. Now the inclusion of the e-tutorial with the inclusion of the certain videos, maybe the YouTube videos or certain other videos, some audios can be, it may be a small, not a very long video, but it can be added. Simulation, very important during the certain practical aspect can be easily explained by the simulation technique. So at the time where the remote teaching is probably the only mode available, simulation will greatly help if the simulation is available. Then the virtual labs, where you can the sophisticated instrument can be displayed, their working can be explained, their calibration can be explained. So that is the idea, because we understand that at the moment we cannot do the practical, which is actually called the practical. So we always look for the all the alternatives, so that the classroom become a more interactive way, and the student will not feel the passive, they are merely attending for certain attendance or something like that. It should not be the case. And of course the animation, I think the previous speaker also emphasized. In the quadrant 4, there is a large number of availability of the ebooks also. And of late I have seen that a lot of reputed libraries have offered the free downloading of the ebooks. The National Library and the NAPTEL and all other the AICT portals, there is a plenty of books which can be download at the moment of time. And there is a web link also, where simple you can share a link, explain the things, and a student will see later on also. It's not necessary that during the 30 minutes we have to see everything. It's not necessary. We can see later on also, but we can share certain links, so that will help to the students that they can revise the thing as and when they want. And there is a fourth the third quadrant is an important quadrant, that is the discussion forum. It's very important, because nowadays most of us are using the Google Classroom or WebEx medium or MS Team medium, and there is a provision that every student can use their cameras, they can use their microphone. So this critical thinking discussion, maybe a small viva, that not only put the student on the toes every time that the teacher may ask you certain question. So you can't leave passive or just uh, log in and sit. No, there is a possibility of the group discussion, and there is some problem may be given instantly, and feedback or the a survey or something like that can be asked from the student. And the quadrant 4, of course, the assessment, because nowadays the problem is that the traditional pen and paper assessment, the examination is not the possibility. So there is a onus to the teachers also to give the to do the fair assessment, and assessment which can helpful to the student also. So the quiz or the multiple choice questions, sometime fill in the blanks, make the columns, something like that, always be prepared by the faculty members, shared to student time and time. They can share the syllabus, the topic, and beforehand they tell the students that after a week time or after 15 days time you have the assessment, so that they prepare. And these assessment, of course, each course has a certain assessment. What we recommend in our university also, that earlier we have working for 30-70 assessment, 30 internal assessment and the 70 which is the end semester assessment, but we are nowadays working with the 50-50. So 50%, of course, we can keep for the internal assessment. That is to be taken during the classroom, maybe after one class and there is a gap of 7-8 classes and again there is an assessment. So this is the some suggestion that I would like to give to all the esteemed educator. This is, of course, for a transient period, the period which we have called as a remote teaching process. And after once the things normalize, I hope the everything will be good, and we will be returned back to the all the process. So this is from my side, Nancy. Thank you very much.
Indeed, great, sir, to have you with us. And I'll tell, it takes a zeal to be everywhere out. I see you in each and every event across. So lovely. So indeed, now I'll just say that, behind every global endeavor, behind every endeavor, there is a tribe of game changers, trend setters. And so behind every team, this collective efforts of the people. And MentorX team also is somehow, curating a global network, but it is not just possible without the versatile team we have. It's not just me, it's just the front figure that you're seeing here, but the backbone, the spine of MentorX is entirely, the people who have made us reach this stage. Before we move ahead, I would love the founding president of MentorX to be here as, to share a few words with us, as he would love to, interact and thank all other speakers who were there with us today, till Dr. Tanveer, everyone out here, and as we move ahead, we thank you, Dr. Kaval, Dr. GS, Ms. Rinku Gautam, Dr. Rachna Agarwal, Dr. Mishra, Dr. Tanveer. And before we move ahead, I would love to invite the founding president of MentorX. Let me connect to him. And before that, we are moving to Dr. GS Adhikari. Dr. GS Adhikari. And we have sir here. We had them in the beginning too, an esteemed privilege to have sir here with us today. And I'll say the vast experience of almost maybe more than 4 decades. Dr. GS Adhikari is Assistant Director, former Assistant Director of Education, and the Chairman of Daily Science Teachers Forum. So we welcome you, sir, here, as we are just the newbies in education. It is you who have been here in the pillar, in the education industry, and we love to hear from you today. Over to you, Dr. Adhikari.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we have some.
Hello, Dr. Nancy. Dr. Nancy.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
So there's an echo here. We're not able to hear you. So maybe you can check if they've logged in from different devices.
Hello.
Yeah, sir, we can hear you. Is
Can
it
you
me
hear?
who is? Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello.
So we can hear you, Dr. G.S. Adhikari. We can rightly hear you.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir. Please move ahead. Though your voice is echoing, so I request you to see. Sir, I request you to maybe stop your video and then check. And till the time you check, sir, I feel we can move ahead and we
Dr.
come back to
Adhikari,
you.
you are signed in on two devices. Kindly turn off the second one and the things will be sorted.
As we wait for Dr. G.S. Adhikari, it's patience which is needed when we need to hear from the gem of the person. We have all the gems here today. And so I feel till the time
Team MENTORx, I believe we shall go ahead with Dr. Hazel Bharadwaj till the timing we wait for Dr. Adhikari. Let's move ahead with the summit. Thank you.
Great, that's wonderful. So as we move ahead, we welcome Hazel Bhardwaj, the director of St. Angel Group of Schools, Delhi, Gurgaon. I'm proud to announce that we have educators who are representing the schools as they are the nation builders. The education, the skill development, it all starts from the formative years, and they are the one who are representing it. So over to you, Hazel. Hazel, we're not able to hear you.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're perfect.
Yes, good evening, Nancy. Thank you for inviting me. Good evening to everybody present here. I would
Sorry to interrupt. Hazel, I would love if you can increase your volume.
Yes, sure. Am I audible now?
Yeah, better, but the volume is a little low.
Yes, yes. All right. And on this portal, I'd really like to thank Shri VP Tandonji, who is the Vice President of Action Committee, SL Tandonji, Bharat Arodaji, and Principal and Founding Director of St. Angel's Group of Schools, Mrs. Seema Bharadwaj, for attending this session. And the topic for today, the paradigm shift in education, is very, very intriguing. And Nancy, this couldn't have been a better time to be discussing this. So what exactly is the paradigm shift in education would be, we'd like to start on with that. The world has not seen this kind of massive mobilization since the World War II. And as the saying goes, that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. We can see so many manufacturing companies instantly retooling. 3/4 of a century ago, it was to make bombers and tanks, and today it is to make ventilators and masks. Pharmaceutical companies have stepped up to accelerate the mass production and distribution of promising drugs that have been shown to successfully fight COVID. Beyond companies coming together for the great community, we are seeing something within us that bodes well for the future collectively. It's a form of resiliency that causes us to adapt to the times. And these times, they are definitely changing. Education being one of them. We can see that we are working differently, playing differently, learning differently, spending differently, living differently. But the problem is that hope was never a strategy. hope has never been a strategy. So what did we do? As educationists running colleges or schools, we started online teaching, online classes to safeguard ourselves and to safeguard the education system, to safeguard the students, to safeguard the schools, to safeguard the teachers. So then what happened since the past 4 months, we can see 4 or 5 months that Zoom school has become the norm for millions of students and parents across the globe, across our country. Now, what does it mean? That music rehearsals are taking place online. All the children are doing their PE classes online. And the children, they complete the task within 15 minutes and then they complain about being bored. The remote learning reality imposed on us by COVID-19 has made us look back at in-person school misadventures with some degree of nostalgia. All the while, we recognize how lucky we are for having access to the devices and connectivity to enable our kids to learn it all. For our family, for the families all across the nation, the silver lining of Zoom is that it's a great leveler. The kids have always done fine academically. The behavior section of the report cards of all the students may have been some problem here and there, but in the Zoom school, the behavioral issues are hidden. In part, this is because of technology. On Zoom, it is not clear to teachers who's paying attention, who's not, but it is mostly due to the lack of personal and physical interaction. We are not going to get called and told that a child who shall not be named pushed another kid at the recess or at the stairs. This hidden peril of Zoom school is that social emotional growth is where this generation needs most work. The experiences have every day, the children and the teachers that are facing, even the parents are facing, are radically different from those of the generation that came of age just a few years before them, which means our generation. Specifically, today's freshmen spend much more of their teenage years sitting in their room, interacting on the phone, rather than the seniors before them who had just graduated out of school or of college. High school students are now going out less often as they did 6 years ago. And the number of teenagers who get together with their friends nearly every day dropped by more than 40%. So what is happening is that there are a few benefits to this shift from social life to social media. Notably, because now what has happened is there is a long-term risk to both the individuals and the economy at large. So the bigger, broader question is that we have to safeguard our lives and our livelihoods, which is the most imperative question of our time. Amid all these problems that have been happening in the education industry, a lot of paradigm shift has happened. Now, specifically in this topic, Nancy, you had mentioned the strategies, teaching strategies to compete with the changing times ahead. Where do educational institutes look forward to understand or to relate or to research on concepts, on strategies to look forward to adjust and to be complicit in these changing times of COVID-19? Because the problems which we are going to face ahead are unknown. The only thing known is that, yes, we are going to face many problems and changes ahead. So in the midst of all this, what happens is suddenly the government drops the national education policy. So far, nobody has mentioned this, so I'd really like to take this privilege of mentioning the national education policy, the new education policy 2020 that just came a few days back. And this national education policy has come after a huge gap of 34 years. So as of date, we have different norms for deemed universities, central universities, different individual standalone institutions, for the school system affiliated to the CBSE, to the ICSE, and the different boards, international boards. So what has happened? The quality and the norms they were very fluctuating. They were very different that we have been following since the past times. But now in this new normal, in this era of online teaching, of social distancing, of not knowing what is the next step to be taken, the national education policy has given us a very broad structure and a completely different structure, a very volatile structure to the existing structure of education. For the school, as we can see that the pattern has shifted, the current 10+2 structure in which the policy covered schooling from class 1 to class 10, the age of 6 to 16 of the students. Now, then the class 11 to 12 of the age 16 to 18 years, now it has given way to the 5 years of foundational education, 3 years of preparatory, 3 of middle, and 4 years of secondary schooling. It has given flexibility to choose subjects across streams, all subjects to be offered at 2 levels of proficiency. The board exams to test only core competencies now have become modular, objective, and will be offered twice a year. 3 language policy to continue preference of the local language and medium of instruction till class 8, and then further taking other 2 languages in the course. There will be bagless days. And for colleges alike, there will be national testing agency to conduct the common college exam twice a year for the entrance, multidisciplinary bachelor programs. And over the next 15 years, colleges will be given graded autonomy to give degrees. Affiliation with universities would end, and so would the deemed university status. Now, the proposals to cap fee charged by private institutions of higher learning have also been put by this national education policy. The top-rated global universities will be facilitated to come to India, and the top Indian institutions would be encouraged to go global. So here we can see that this has been a very universalized system of education that has been prepared and has been put into force. And of course, it is not a drastic one-day change. It's going to take at least a 10-year step to be implemented. And of course, the current existing educators would be learning with time how to implement these policies by giving certain directions to the administration as well as to the teachers. And so will the students be involved in the national education policy system gradually. It won't be a one-day change, of course, that's for sure. But what I would like to highlight here is that, yes, the change and the strategy that today we are talking about, it has already come in force. This is just one aspect of the national education policy that I'm highlighting, and I haven't really elaborated it too much because that would take too much of time. Just a small mention of the CBSE also I am doing here, because the schools, most of the majority of the 90%, 95% of the schools in Delhi and the NCR, and mostly they are affiliated to the CBSE, which is the biggest body, or you can say an affiliating body, which guides the schools to run the primary education, the middle education, and the higher education programs. So they have also given very recently in the month of, they have been giving circulars, they have been giving so many updates to the affiliated schools on how to upkeep their education systems, online classes, and how to integrate the curriculums through the STEM learning, through the art integration. And also a very, very important thing that they have asked the educators to help the children build resilience for climatic change. They have asked the children, asked the teachers to give children to imbibe cultural ethos and home language in their daily systems and the daily practices. Also, a very important thing is that running of a kitchen is an immense learning source, is what the CBSE has emphasized, that our homes run like clockwork and the homemaker's ability to multitask are phenomenal, yet it tends to get unnoticed. Various happening places in our homes, especially kitchens, They remain the most underrated and underused place for a child's cognitive, affective, and psychomotor development. Kitchen is perhaps the best lab one is at home. So much of experiments go on there, and that too with the real tools. So children must take part in the kitchen work, and there can be no better time than this to get started. Tell the parents of our schools that we should include the children in this kitchen work. So by far and by large, I have contributed my thoughts and whatever I have come across as my knowledge to this paradigm shift in education, which is the topic for today. But the ground reality is that we definitely need to go ahead with the change, and that how educators today are facing a problem of not only convincing the students and making them be more friendly with the online system of education, but also the parents we have to counsel, and from time to time we have to update them, and it's more of teachers also teaching the parents to be more friendly with this new normal, with this new change of education. So, but the last thing that I would like to mention before finishing my insight for today is I came across a very, very interesting article a few days back, which was written by Sri Prakash Iyer, and it's been very famous, The Bridge on the River Choluteca. So he just asked everybody that if you have ever heard about the bridge on the river Choluteca, and nobody had, of course, no one has. It's not a very famous bridge, but just I'd like to mention that not so long ago, there was a 484-meter long bridge over the river Choluteca in Honduras in Central America, and a region very notorious for storms and hurricanes. So when they decided to build a new bridge over River Choluteca in 1996, they wanted to ensure it would withstand the extreme weather conditions. A Japanese firm was contacted and they built a bridge, a very powerful bridge which was designed to withstand this powerful force of nature, which is the storms and the floods. So now what happened, it was a pride and joy of Choluteca. Now the hurricane came, and there were 75 inches of rain in 4 days, and that was an equivalent of what they would receive in 6 months. There was devastation all around. The Choculatella River, it swelled and people lost their lives, and the entire region was destroyed except for that Choluteca bridge. Now, this was the problem. The bridge was intact, but the road leading to it and leaving it were both swept away, leaving no sign there was once a road, not at all. The flooding forced the river to change its course, and it created a new channel. Now the river flowed besides the bridge and not under it. So while the bridge was strong enough to survive, it became a bridge over nothing, a bridge to nowhere. So here it is a lesson for us. It is a lesson that the world is changing in ways we may have never imagined. And this story is a terrific metaphor for what can happen to us, our careers, our lives as educators, and the world around us. So we have to adapt to change and build new policies, formulate new things, or else we can see what all is going around us every day. So I would like to thank you all for your patience sitting here and listening to me and letting me share my insight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hazel Bhardwaj. It's been lovely to hear from you. Yet simple yet powerful, tips for professional development as well as for kids. Thank you so much for being here. As we go ahead, I request all the educators to be with us till the closing ceremony. And yes, we are yet to start with an amazing panel discussion where we have, digged out amazing questions for each one of you so that you can, build in this discussion and raise the level, raise the bar of the education. So please be with us so that we share and learn with each other. Moving ahead, we have joined by Dr. G.S. Adhikari, and we love to move ahead to Sir as he's here. Sir, if you're ready, so over to you, sir. Dr. G.S. Adhikari, and we love to have learning from probably more than 5 decades of your experience over here. As you have been the ex-assistant director of education, you have been, the Delhi Science Forum, you represent them. So indeed lovely to have you with us, sir.
Dr. Nancy, Dr.
Yes.
Nancy, am I audible?
Yes, you're perfect.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're perfect.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening and warm greetings to the organizers, MENTORx, the webinar Paradigm Shift in Education. Learned key speakers, esteemed dignitaries, fellow teachers, ladies and gentlemen. Let me express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Y.P. Chawla, as I am here in place of our Executive Chairman, Delhi State Science Teachers Forum, Mr. P.N. Vasni, who is unwell. I pray for his speedy recovery. Friends, being a teacher myself, I shall confine my deliberations to the school education only. Down the memory lane, in the history of mankind, education has provided a basis for the development of human society through the development of attitudes, values, capabilities, both of knowledge and skills. Education thus provided strength and resilience to people to respond to their changing socio-cultural conditions and enable them to cause and to contribute to societal development. History has established beyond doubt the crucial role played by human resource development of human resources, as education is the vital function for the development of mankind. Thus, education is the greatest instrument man has devised for his own progress. It influences lives of more people than any other organization. Education in developing nations is an influencing process, a promoter of social change, and a supporting system for the evolution of an individual as well as the society as a whole. After independence, efforts were made in restructuring socio-political institutions for better utilization of the natural resources, and also in structuring the education system in order to develop its human resources for manning these institutions. And these were University Education Commission in the year 1948-49, the Secondary Education Commission 1952-53, the Indian Kothari Commission 1964-66, also recalled as Kothari Commission reminded to the trainee teachers as a Bible for school education system. It took a holistic view of the entire education system based on the recommendation of this commission. National Policy of Education 1968 emphasized that the education system must produce young men and women of character and ability committed to the national service and development. Taking note of the need to transform education so as to relate it to life, needs and aspirations of people, it was viewed that educational activities should be organized in such a way that always and ever in each and every task, the child is encouraged to express its best fulfillment. Furthermore, the National Policy on Education Resolution 1986 reiterated that education refines sensitivities and perceptions that contribute to national cohesion, scientific temper, and independence of mind and spirit, thus furthering the goals of socialism, secularism, and democracy enshrined in our Constitution. The National Curriculum Framework observed that education is fundamental to all-round development, material and spiritual, it is also viewed as an integral part of for the national development. Thus, after a long gap of about 3 decades, the National Policy of Education 2020 has just been unveiled and its salient features are already in public domain. It is plausible that the early education in mother tongue can help a child with a strong fundamental knowledge and they will turn out to be a better decision maker. However, one should not refrain from learning multiple languages at a later stage in their life. It also offers them an opportunity to get introduced to social and cultural identities. The developing of learning abilities among children in the formative years of schooling helps them to connect with the classroom conversation and generates interest in the subject. However, I am of the view that imposing the burden to learn a new language at a tender age may lead to disinterest and distraction among the children. The National Education Policy 2020 will lead to liberal education in the coming years and our youth shall be relieved from unnecessarily running after redundant degrees. The new policy also emphasizes upon equity and inclusivity. The real outcome would be realized when the children in poor, rural and remote areas get access to quality education. More stress upon critical thinking, creativity, experiential learning and stronger conceptual understanding will encourage our students to become self-motivated learners. It is imperative to focus on the application of a few core subjects rather than shallow memorization of the vast syllabi. Although National Education Policy 2020 appears to be an idealistic policy, but it has many challenges ahead to tackle the dismal fact that some of the weak links need to be looked into in respect of the digital and other infrastructures, placement of faculty, lack of passion, accountability and commitment, due to which the educational outcomes remains dismal. There is an urgent need to enrich and strengthen the children belonging to the economically weaker sections of the society, socially and emotionally in their holistic development. For the effective implementation of the new policy, a two-pronged approach shall have to be adopted. Number one, to equip the teachers for early childhood and education to bridge the disconnect between the proposed plan of action and the ground realities in the countrywide states. Number two, with regard to the school education framework, the need of the hour is the overhauling of the teacher training modules and strategies in the educational institutions, and also the provision of effective in-service training mechanisms for the practicing teachers. With such dedication and endeavors, I am sure that the educational outcome shall definitely improve in so-called educational surveys by NGO like Pratham, and India shall not lag behind in participating the global PISA school competitions in future. In contrast with the COVID-19, teaching and learning in schools, there is no comparison with the eye-to-eye contact of the teacher people in a physical class to a virtual online class as per the present plan of action in our schools. Therefore, in these challenging times and the period of adversity, the online classes are the only options. And if planned and transacted methodically, keeping in mind the pedagogical aspects, the learning outcomes may be more absorbing and enriching for the young minds. Again, the role of our front warriors, that is our fellow teachers, is more demanding and crucial at this stage. It depends upon how good he or she is a planner, a manager, a communicator, an anchor, a counselor, a balanced with pleasing mannerisms, knowledgeable, innovative, and resourceful in putting his or her best in those 30 to 40 minutes, which shall definitely prove to be worth learning, thrilling, motivating, and inspiring for the class as a whole.
Great, sir.
Above all, he or she has to be a learning throughout. Some of the key aspects for the online classes for the host teachers are class management, the communication skills, speed of delivery, that is proper coordinations of the supporting teaching learning material, maintaining cool during any hindrance, distraction, defined behavior of the children, content coverage, the art of questioning, and the most important is reach to every child and proper connectivity in the class. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Indeed, great, sir. Indeed, great, sir, to hear from esteemed you. I feel it's almost 5 decades of your experience speaking here. And when we have you with us here, all the way, I feel everyone out here. We have people joined us from Australia, Switzerland. I see people from, Croatia. I see people from so many countries, Mauritius, joining here today. And irrespective of the time zones, I must compliment the zeal in the educationists today that you all are here. So yes, when I look at the chat, I see wonderful comments there. I see wonderful, people coming out not just with questions, opinions, and we surely look forward to much more conclusion here with us today. Moving ahead, I would love to welcome the speaker of today, Shantanu sir. Shantanu sir, all the way from Shashadipuram Group of Colleges, Bangalore. And I feel sir is here with us.
Yes, madam, I'm there.
Great, sir, great. So wonderful to have you here, sir. It's been indeed a pleasure, sir, to have you here. And I feel, Shantanu sir, somehow, it's by the technology, it's by the power of technology that we met, and the fact that we are here today, and we are able to do so many summits together. I would love to tell you all that we have been working, MENTORx Global has been working with the Shashadipuram Group of Institutions, Bangalore, and we are coming up with great summit in biotechnology even in this month end. And so we look forward to sir as he shared with us his deep insights from his career. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, Dr. Adhikari. And now over to you, Shantanu sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nancy. In fact, it was wonderful that we got connected with you and Dr. Munish, and we could do 3 days of artificial intelligence program. So it was indeed a privilege to be connected with you. And the reason why we choose, and in fact, we are blessed to have with MENTORx as our Center for Excellence. The reason is, as we are teachers, we could see that pedagogy, andragogy, and heterogogy. So you could see clear difference. That's the reason only the single slide I have shown you here, the teacher-led learning that was around 70s or like that. Then self-directed learning, and then the self-determined learning. And now the fourth terminology came into picture, that is synergogy. That means together we learn, and togetherness is the most important factor here. So I would like to ask everyone or the panelist who is going to discuss next that we have come across the traditional learning, Gurukul kind of system, Nalanda educational system, the world's first university. And then I would like to put here a few things. We always are good at giving the guidance and critics. Are we here to give the solutions? The first foremost thing, are we Indians, are in India or across, do the industry and academia bridge the gap, which I still remember around 15 years back, I had been attending a forum and I was a panelist there also, stating that how to bridge this gap. We know traditional educational system, we have to just pass the exam. And at the end, we are nothing like, but just creating like, biotechnological world that we are producing like birds, chickens, and like that kind of, only with the degrees and certificate papers, but not the real human being who can solve the solution. So where are we? So is it possible that we can increase the work efficacy? We can come out of the traditional education system, blend it with the modern machine learning, AI, and so much and so forth, that both the teacher and student come into context with solving the issues of the present generation. Here we could see teachers, as we could see the fourth point which Nancy Madam has given, coping up with learning dilemma, which way to follow, which one to learn. In high school, teacher tells one, in degree teacher tells one, in master's teacher tells one, home parent tells one way to follow, which one is the right one to follow and how to go ahead. So can we come all together? That's why I always prefer synagogue. That means we all together should join and see that the effectiveness of both the teacher, as I think the previous speaker has clearly told, nowadays teacher is the one who is like kind of Indian jugaad system. Anything you give, a teacher will do. Either it's a clerical work, it is a typing work, either it's an admin work or filing work. Is the teacher meant for that? We should understand that. We are either ISO, NAC, so many documentation and filing. Teacher spends their most valuable knowledge instead of spreading, passing on like Lord Buddha or so many things that Mahavir Jain or the Nalanda Gurukul systems, instead of passing the knowledge, they just keep confining within themselves and the student on the other side could absorb it. So what we have to do, can we create such a module where instead of a classical kind of traditional way of exam pattern, can we create the skill enhancement that we call as feather on the caps, that the skill enhancement is such an immensely blended with the kids that wherever we put them, they come out. So I still remember 100 years back, C.V. Raman, we call, being a science student, we tell them, no, wherever we would have put him, he would have come out with the spectroscopy, Raman spectroscopy, and he would have solved the problem. So when we had J.C. Bose, when we had so many stalwarts who had been ruling, why we are following certain educational pattern which is defunct? Are we just meant for fulfilling the criteria or passing or filling the degrees or filing the certificates? Or we are here to blend with compassion, empathy, and synagogue, so that the teacher, student, all comes into such blend that it's a wonderful environment created where learners are problem finders. They know their destination and become independent on those who can help them determine the rules. So teacher is a facilitator. We should understand teachers are not like that classical kind of the stereotype, speaking and talking and all those, like a monotonous radio anchor or something like that. Teachers are the one who must felicitate. They are not like the, holding the hands of a student and taking across the river. It's like that they are just the guiding force. So we have to think of the remedial system, the mentoring system. Hence, I clearly believe in, under the guidance of Nancy as well as Munish, that MENTORx, how we could see YP Chawlaji from Sydney, and so many people of the MENTORx trainees and MENTORx mentors are there. I think we'll create an effective educational system and we can unlearn and relearn. We are here, many of us, when we go to trainings, we feel that, no, I know the kind of the attitude for either a student or a teacher is like that, I know. Never we feel, no, I don't know, let me unlearn and relearn. People must do that. They should upgrade. They must be refreshed. For that, the first and foremost thing, whatever you have learned, try to unlearn and relearn yourself again. Where is the time for a teacher to go get a refresher things? refresher course. It's jam-packed schedule. It's even they carry their work to home where they will refresh and gain knowledge and impart. So teachers are slowly lagging behind, and hence what happens, not only the teacher, even we could see nowadays, the modern generation students are just exam oriented. They nowhere we could see there is a quest for knowledge. If there is a quest for knowledge, I definitely think we all will be the problem solvers. I believe in, instead of critics, there are n number of people to criticize, but where are the people who are problem solvers? Let us build a society where instead of blaming, doing blame game and all, let us create a society with compassion, empathy, and learning and relearning. With all technologies involved, let us build a society and let us create it to be in heaven like Nalanda University. We are proud of our Indian traditional educational system. Thank you for the kind opportunity, MENTORx, Nancy, Madam, and Munish ji, for giving such a wonderful opportunity to represent our 90-year-old institution of Bangalore, Seshadipuram Group of Institution. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, sir. Indeed, wonderful to welcome you here at the global platform. And, you know, the founding president of MENTORx is joining us again here. And as he had the prior commitments, and I'll definitely tell that our association is lifelong. Once an educationist meet, I guess we are bound to get bright things happen. That bright things happen when bright people come together. And yes, as I remembered, I would love to call Dr. Manish Jindal, the founding president of MENTORx, as he's the pillar of strength by which this fantastic event has come into life to the summit. Over to you.
Namaste. Namaste, everyone. Wow, wow, wow. It's indeed so wonderful to see all the academicians, educationists, you know, professors, all the learned people all across the globe. And it's indeed a privilege for us to host all the honorable, all of you from the galaxy of this universe. I'm indeed privileged, indeed blessed that you all have just come on our single call. And today we are joining hands together towards the paradigm shift in the education. When we talk about education, education starts right there in the womb. That's it. When we are not even born, the learning has started. And when we talk about education, I would pick it rightfully from the Professor Santanu Das from Seshadipuram First Grade College in Anka, Bangalore, that we have to learn, and learning is a continuous process. And the same is now, what the times we are in, it is we have to unlearn to learn. We have to unlearn to learn. This is the new paradigm shift. Beautiful to have, Dr. Kaman Gill, Mr. G.S. Adhikari, Ms. Rinku Gautam, Dr. Mangat Bansal, Dr. Rachna Agarwal, Dr. Nishit Mishra, Dr. Tanveer Naved, Madam Hazel Bharadwaj, and Dr. Shantanu Das with us today. It was hearing from all of them. It's indeed a pleasure. And when we talk about education, few people talked about preparing kids or preparing students. I'd say that education is creativity, innovation, experimentation, disruption. When you make things happen, that is education. And, you know, I'm so happy that education is shifting towards the new world. Why? Because education is in the hands of all of you. All of you hold that torch to the future. You are the future builders. So I'm so happy that today, all the people who are nurturing the upcoming future, the people who are decoding future, the people who are building future, they have joined hands together with MENTORx and are sitting here at one common platform, talking about education, sharing their viewpoints and how we can shape up the future. And that is what where MENTORx kicks in. MENTORx is to educate, to empower, to elevate. And we are breaking the traditional barriers of education. Whatever education that's so years, centuries old. In the contemporary world, we talk about Industrial Revolution 4. We are already gearing towards Industrial Revolution 5. We are soon coming with the Seshadipuram group of colleges, confluence of technologies, whereby you will see, usually people talk about confluence of people. Here it's confluence of technologies where you will see humanoids, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, biotechnology, nanotechnology, virtual reality. And you will come to know how and which way world is shaping up. And we are glad that Professor Santundas is the pioneer towards that. And we are taking this initiative with the MENTORx Center of Excellence with the Shishadripuram First Grade College and North Bangalore Science Forum. So and MENTORx has taken this on its own shoulders, how to develop the faculty. That is why we have initiated this faculty development program. Today, all of you might be wondering why we have gathered together here. It is a context setting towards faculty development program that is going to happen on 22nd and 23rd of August. So whereby we have taken upon this responsibility upon our shoulder to empower the educators of today, empower the educators of contemporary world in the most efficient, effective, and futuristic way. I am the founder and CEO of Hover Robotics, pioneer of e-mobility in India. I'm the one who brought e-mobility, hoverboards, mobility bots, Autobots to India. And that is taking all together a new shift whereby we are imparting artificial intelligence and technical know-how to all the kids, right from the formative years, from the grassroots years. And I am blessed that we are all together. I need all of you. We need, MENTORx needs all of you so to join hands together, so that we can carry this torch of knowledge, of intellect, of expertise to each and every part of the globe. That is why even if we are discussing new paradigm shift of education in India, but there are educators all across the globe. In another hour and a half, you're going to see the people, the educators and academicians all across the globe are going to join us, and they are going to share their viewpoints. So thank you for all of you being here. MENTORx as of now is in 32 countries, and we are unstoppable, growing endlessly with the support of all of you. I'm really thankful to all of you for sharing your words of wisdom and your intellect and your expertise. When one speaker speaks, that speaker is carrying an experience of 20 to 30 years. But imagine that speaker would have met hundreds of thousands of people. Combined together, I always say one speaker carries an experience of 1,000 years. And today we have got close to 50 plus speakers here. So imagine we are in these 3 hours, we are pouring down an experience of 50,000 years altogether. Imagine the power, imagine the knowledge, imagine the expertise, imagine the words of wisdom being shared. So all of you remain attentive, be here with us, and let's together shape a new world. And trust me, a beautiful world is waiting for us. People are getting skeptical because of whatever is going on, that how it's going to be. I'm a first generation entrepreneur. MENTORx is my 9th venture in a row. I have seen so many ups and downs, and I assure you a very beautiful world, whether it's academician, whether it's educator or a lecturer or a teacher or a student or a university or a college or an entrepreneur, whosoever it is, or any professional from the corporate world. A very nice, very wonderful world is waiting for us. And things are going to go even wonderful than where we were. If we were here, we're gonna be here. That I assure you. So be with us, and let's hope on to next session, and we open our keynote panelists with this note. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Nancy Juneja. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jindal. It's been indeed a humbling experience to work with you under your leadership, and surely it's joint efforts that MENTORx is going places. And now I would love to tell you that after our keynote speakers, we have a wonderful panelist, waiting for you. That's the icing on the cake. We've already seen the best, and we are expecting the best now. And here we love to introduce our panelists. Many of them who've been from different countries altogether. And let me just have a look. I am so indebted to all of you who've been shown their patience and being with us, as we know that once educationists, we start sharing our views, we just go with the flow. And definitely we all have so much to share that we love today at MENTORx platform. If we can, get the crux out of it, get the conclusion out of it, and make this a momentous moment to come together, to bridge the gap even between corporates and academia. We have already seen the academia, the schools and universities have come together here with us today. So yes, and as we move forward, before Mr. Bhatia, I would just, take a moment to welcome Miss Ruby Bakshi all the way from Switzerland. We would just respect the times differences and her zeal to accept, our invite to be here today. It is really, we are really humbled, ma'am.
Dr. Bakshi Khurdi, right from Switzerland. What she is a doctor, she's an ambassador, Her Highness, Her Excellency, whatnot. Whatever words I would use, I don't know how to introduce her. I can write a book on her, even just on her introduction. And with all her pretty, lovely smiles, just at a one single text we say, and she shows up right from the Switzerland, even besides the time zone differences. Thank you, Dr. Ruby Bakshi Khurdi, namaste. And we would love to open our keynote panelist session with you. Please share your golden nuggets. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Munish and Dr. Nancy, for inviting me. It's indeed a pleasure to listen to all of you and be a part of MENTORx. I'm really, really excited. Switzerland is just bahana hai. Dil hum log ke connected hai. That's why we are here. Well, education is something that is connecting us all, and it has been really a great journey so far. Sitting here in Switzerland, listening to all of you, even though we are going through a really a phase which is like, we can't describe in words. It's something like the whole world is going through it, but still, because we are enthusiastic, because education is binding us all, we are all together trying to combat it, even though it is as scary, as bad as COVID, but we are here to find solutions, how we can combat and what we can do to find a good solution and move forward together. So yes, COVID did have a huge impact on education, especially because everything came to a standstill. People were confused, people were scared, shocked, don't know what is happening, but yet something is happening and everyone was aware of it. So here in Switzerland, the only thing which I was seeing in the chat box, the questions that were coming up, which I felt is something which was a little different from what India was facing. I guess it's because of infrastructure that here in February, March, when people started talking more and more and things started getting a little bit crazy, the schools and colleges which were not really prepared to move from face-to-face classes to VLE, that is virtual learning network environment, they were kind of really stuck. They were not knowing what to do and how to move on. Even though like the college where I teach, just to let you know that I'm here teaching in higher education. I'm teaching to students in master's, bachelor's and doctorate programs. So during that time, it was very, very difficult for some of the students to stay here because majority of the students, we have international students coming from all over the world. So it was very difficult for us to take care of what is exactly happening. But still, all the teachers, all the professors in all the education institutions, we became like, it was like a one entity and everyone was discussing how to combat it and what to do so that students are not having that stress or anger or frustration about what is going to happen because they were here and parents were there. So it was a very, very, I would say, a situation where people were not knowing how to combat it. But the beauty was that people did not stop. And most of the organizations and most of the management, they decided to switch to either Teams or through Zoom, like everyone is Zooming today, we are also having the Zoom. Teachers were giving training, instantly training programs were organized. And it was, some people were scared because they were not knowing how to combat it and what to do and how to move the paradigm smoothly. But the organizations which had already been doing, especially for primary schools as well as for like really kids in the very lower level, like nursery, those were the students who were a little bit less impacted because teachers, they just stayed at home and teachers are like, we'll just send the assignments and they will do it. So here in Switzerland, most of the schools, they do practice what is termed as no bags. Most of the things are on the iPads. Most of the students, they are learning through Moodle. Already all the things are there, but to have these type of classes, that was not prevalent at that time, which COVID literally forced us to do. So in here, basically what most of the organizations, most of the higher education institutes did was they moved the system, they moved the assignments and everything to VLE. That is, students, most of the students, they went back. some students who could not go back because the borders were closed. So in their situation, they stayed here, but they stayed in their rooms. Like we have boarding students who are living in boarding. So they stayed in their rooms and it was made available to them, you know, like everyone, there was no face-to-face classes at all. But it was not easy. The shift was done after trainings, after constant boot camps for the teachers. They were organized. Our institute also organized a boot camp, which was done by the people in here. So it was very difficult, but very, very difficult in terms of organizing everything instantly, but it was done. So I suppose most of the people in India, like I had some of the webinars with my fellow, you know, educators in India, and most of them, they were facing this issue that people were not able to shift because of bad infrastructure. Internet was failing, kabhi chal raha hai, kabhi nahi chal raha hai, kuch students aa pa rahe hain, kuch students nahi aa pa rahe hain. So under those circumstances, I guess if the infrastructure is strong, you know, we can combat it. It's not something which is not manageable. So here, most of the students, we shifted completely to VLE, and we started practicing the stuff which was like, you know, preparing, like for example, watching videos. So the type of education also changed. The type of assignments also changed, because we couldn't do similar things which was just done in terms of what do you call, giving the assignment which is face to face, you know. So to make or avoid students sitting long hours in front of the screen, you know, we as educators, we started giving them assignments wherein they were supposed to watch as per their convenience. It was more self-paced, which again, I think if it happens all over the world, especially in India, it will be a boon. You know, education has become more self-paced, which I noticed in last, I would say roughly 3 to 6 months, that some of the students were happy because they could push it. But some of the students, they had their own difficulties because they need someone to push them. So the students who were facing difficulties or who were not very comfortable, we started providing them mentoring, you know, one-to-one on like, you know, regular intervals, but for shorter intervals, so that they don't feel that they are left out. So I guess people who moved to the shift smoothly, it made them think, yes, it is possible. It is not something that can't be done. You know, like in the past, working from home or teleworking was just thought about for women or for people who had some handicap. But now COVID made it like, you know, something that it is possible to work from home. It is possible to do things, teach from home, provided the structure, the curriculum is strong enough, and it is giving our students something to look forward to. You know, they enjoy it, make it more interactive. You know, I use a lot of gamification in teaching. I use a lot of learning, virtual learning platforms, which are really like, you know, which doesn't make them that they are studying or it's kind of boring. You know, they enjoy it because they feel it's something like sitting in the classroom, but at the same time they're learning. You know, sometimes the students, they say that, oh, I didn't feel that we just did a theory. Because in traditional classrooms, if I remember when I was a student, some of the classes we would literally, you know, drag along because the classes were long and it was very difficult to pay attention. And imagine when you're sitting in front of the screen and just watching the screen and trying to get as much information as possible, it's not easy. So if I make you play a game, I'm not going to do that because we are running short of time. But if I make you play a game and understand a concept, like I during this COVID, I initiated a theory that's called 3 R's theory, 3 E's theory by Ruby, which is when you are doing any kind of education, whether it's science, whether it's mathematics, whether it's arts, whether it's music, any kind of education, if you practice the 3E, anything will become very interesting and you will grasp the information. Students will not be feeling obliged to be sitting there in front and listening to the person, but they will pay attention because it is something which is for their benefit. So I'll just tell you the 3E, which is number 1 is educate, empathize, and empower. When you are educating whatever, because you have to give information. So educate in terms of whatever information you want to give. Empathize, not that, you know, they can do it because they are students and they have to listen to you. Use emotional intelligence. During this COVID time, we have been using lots and lots of emotional intelligence and actually practicing it. Because if you have a teacher saying something serious, people will not understand. You know, it would be like a brain drain. एक कान से सुना, दूसरे कान से निकल गया. Which sometimes we do. Sometimes we discover the art of falling asleep by our eyes open. We don't want that. We want our students to learn, to adapt. And this is possible if we empathize and at the same time empower. Give them responsibility, give them the role, give them the workload so that they feel valued and they understand the thing. So I use a lot of TED, which is like, you know, where you are preparing your videos. I have my own videos, plus I take videos from other inspirational people and give them the work. So make education something which is interactive, not something which is like boring, and something which is they are just supposed to do. Kar lo, bas, pad lo, you know, not that. It should be something that they enjoy and understand. You know, they enjoy in the sense that hamare benefit ke liye hai. It is value addition to us and we need to do it. And that's the call of action now. I think COVID made us do, you know, the dance or drama, like running, jaise ungliyon pe nachana hota hai. COVID made us do that. Initially, we would listen, we would see those things, but we would not follow it. We would not practice it. But now the call of ours is, it's the action time. हम खाली सोच नहीं रहे हैं, हम खाली देख नहीं रहे हैं, हमें करना है. And that is the reason we all educators are sitting here and discussing and talking how to find the right things, the right attitude that people actually understand, our students actually understand. They just don't sit there for the heck of sitting, physically present but mentally कहीं और है. Mentally सब अपने Facebook पे हैं, mentally सब अपने WhatsApp पे हैं, अलग-अलग चीजों पे. No, if they are in the classroom, because we have paperless classrooms. Like here, everything is on iPad. कोई Moodle पे है, कोई Teams पे है, कोई दूसरे. So अगर हम यहाँ बैठे हैं, we don't know what our students are doing. So that's the reason when you empower, आप उनको trust कर रहे हो, so they enjoy it. You know, if the person is having a phone like this, how do I know what he or she is watching? That means you need to trust them and ensure that वो आपका ही काम कर रहे हैं, वो कहीं और नहीं है. They are not using some other physical platform or virtual platform and fooling you around. So we as educators need to bring about a change, not rule of the book. ये है और पढ़ो. You know, that doesn't work. It's not going to work. Believe me, guys, we have been through it. हम सब उससे हो चुके आके, like, you know, we have all seen that. So the call of action is, इतना curriculum को interesting बनाइए that people start paying attention. You know, they start paying attention and enjoying it, because whenever you do something in fun, like when you play a game, you enjoy it. आए game के rule ना आए वो अलग बात है, but आप हारते भी हो, you enjoy it. चलो यार game था. Same thing in education. Try to analyze it in education as well, because when you do it in, you know, from education point of view, people will enjoy. They will not feel defeated. There are a lot of suicide cases, depressions and things like that, which is happening all over. We don't see those kind of things so much if we empathize with our students. We make them do or understand the concepts. You know, they will understand, they will enjoy, and they will go with the flow. But अगर आप उनको pressurize करोगे, or if you make them do something because they have to do, तुम्हें करना ही है, तुम्हें आना ही है, you know, then it's not going to work. So here, like, you know, just to give you a small thing, and then I'll move on to you guys. Here we don't have exam system. We have, like, you know, continuous evaluation. Whatever, right from the time the students are in the classroom, they are being observed on their absence, you know, their attendance, their class participation, their initiative, how much they are taking initiative, how much they are working towards sustainability, you know, like life education. This is what is there mostly in primary schools, secondary schools, and somewhat in higher education as well. So if we adapt this kind of system, believe me, guys, it's really going to bring about a change in a very, very strong and positive way. Because as a kid, I used to be stressed, and when I saw my kids, you know, going through, and I would say, "Padho, padho, padho, exam, exam." They'll be like, "Chill, mama, it's fine. You know, we have been doing it. Don't worry." So for me also as an educator, even though I've been here teaching for last 18 years, I had to train myself to understand the system, how it works. So we don't have to think, "Hum wahan pahunch gaye hain, hame kuch change karne ki zarurat nahi hai." No, we have to change our mindset every single day. And if we as educators do that, because we are playing a very strong role. We are playing a very, very noble as well as a strong role in educating the future generation. So we need to make a change in the mindset. And jab hum khud karenge, we'll ourselves embrace it, we will be able to give it as well. That's it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much indeed, Ruby. It is really great to hear you, all the way from Switzerland. I'll say, as you said, of course, Switzerland is just the name. We all educationists have one thing in common, that we are here to nurture the people. And so I'll just say that you're doing brilliant in your own field. And we'll request that you keep, supporting us in all our endeavors. And you are the one who's taking MENTORx to places with us. So please be there. Deeply humbled by you. Great, indeed great. As we move ahead, I would love to call Mr. N.M. Bhatia, Mr. Narendra Bhatia. So, let us just, yeah. So, I'll just touch the base with Mr. Bhatia, and so I pass to Dr. Jindal to continue the flow, and I can see right here with us, Mr. Atipriya. So all honors to you, Dr. Jindal.
It's wonderful to have the golden nuggets of Ruby ma'am. Dr. Ruby, thank you for sparing your time and sharing your intellect with us. Indeed, humbled and heartened with your kindness. And so as we move ahead, and I would humbly, with both my folded hands, want to let all our eminent speakers know that we have maximum 2 to 3 minutes for each speaker, because still we have close to another 30 speakers lined up. So just a humble request to all of you. I believe Dr. Nancy Juneja, my co-founder, when she started, she forgot to announce the timeline. So humbly on behalf of MENTORx, I am just announcing this. Kindly everyone adhere to timeline, please, for 2 to 3 minutes. And let's start on with next, as rightly announced by Dr. Nancy Juneja, Mr. Atipriya, the Deputy Director for Entrepreneurship Development Cell from City University. Atipriya, house open for you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure to be a part of such a means the galaxy of all the stalwarts over here, and I feel humbled to share my views over here. So means without wasting so much time, so we are talking about here about the paradigm shift in the education. So means this word paradigm means it comes from the Greek, and which means framework or example, and means thus this paradigm is a related set of concepts, that define and provide the example of or the framework for a given knowledge domain. Now means in the world of, if I may quote in the words of George Leonard, who was the eminent educator, to learn is to change, and education is a process that changes the learner. Now, the most significant issue related to learning is the recent paradigm shift in the education. And this change is elucidated in the way in which curriculum is defined and technology is used. Now, the distinct roles of the teachers and the learners, they are becoming increasingly blurred. Education today is no longer defined in terms of what a teacher will teach, but rather in terms of what a student will be able to demonstrate. Thus means it is from here that the instruction must work backwards. If we are to be responsible for what a student learns, then it is essential that we understand what a student knows before the new learning begins, and how best to build on what each student already knows. Our role as teachers or educators is to be guide on the side instead of being sage on the stage. We have moved from an instruction paradigm in which an instructor means transfer knowledge to the students, to a learning paradigm in which means teacher's role is that of a coach. So the result is a student learning how to learn and discovering knowledge with the coaching guidance of a teacher. Our dominant paradigm mistake is means for an end. It takes a method called instruction, that makes it the end of the purpose. And the principles means that guide this change in learning that should include is that student and teacher, they share responsibility for the quality of the student's learning process. Not means indirectly and secondarily, means the quality of the teacher's teaching. And the core motivation for both student and teacher is satisfaction derived from improving the quality of each student's learning. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much once again for giving me the opportunity to share my views as the panelist over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Atipreet. Thank you so much indeed. Feeling blessed with your wonderful words, and thank you for sparing your time. Next, we have Lieutenant General Balbir Singh Sandhuji, Director General Information Technology, former Director General of Supplies and Transport. Let's have the man himself. Lieutenant General Balbir Singh Sandhu, sir. Namaste.
Good evening,
sir, are you there?
Gentlemen. Thank you, Nancy and Dr. Jindal, for calling me on this platform. It's been a great experience this evening. When teachers speak, irrespective of your age, you start listening. It's been a great evening. One learned a lot. And the opportunity of speaking a little late is twofold. One is there is very little left for you to cover, so you can just have fun. And two is that you can pick up some of those points and just put them together and that make them your wisdom. However, two things that I want to talk about. One is this paradigm shift. Whenever there's a crisis, it offers an opportunity. This is an opportunity of all that has been spoken earlier by the speakers, whether at the school or the higher education, or even we are also in the learning stage. I think that excitement to learn becomes more as you grow up. And probably when you're a little young, you think you know all. So one is, it's a great opportunity for using technology, for using innovative methods. And India is extremely well placed to take advantage of this. Two is, as a national security expert, I feel education is the foundation of nation building. You know, like we make a multi-story building, the foundation is the most important thing. And education is what makes a foundation. And be it the teacher, the students, I used to very often say, when I was posted in National Defense Academy, that every cadet here is going to make an officer. And every officer is going to become probably a colonel or a general. So he is at the foundation stage of military building. Likewise, education is the very foundation of nation building. It translates later on into national power, because each one of the educated person goes into a vocation, goes into research, goes into teaching, goes into military. So education is extraordinarily important, and national security depends on the quality of manpower population, or the women power and manpower of the human resource that you have. So hence, this foundation, as much of innovation as we use that was brought up by the earlier speakers, will help us build a nation. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for such powerful words. That's indeed nurturing and coming from the man himself, from the man. And I'm indeed blessed for sharing your words. And we are looking for a longer association with you, whereby we can have a longer session with you and get to hear you. Thank you. We are going to connect back. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Indeed blessed. Next, we have Dr. Yashpal Chawla from Australia. As I know, he's way past his sleeping time. Let's quickly hear him and have his intellect and expertise shared with us. Namaste, Dr. YP Chawla.
Okay.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Namaste. What I have done, because time is tight, I have put all my points in the chat box. That's number one. Wow. Number two, I must share, as Dr. Tanveer was telling that COVID is going to go away. I had some pictures which I do not want to now show, but I'll tell you verbally. Here in Sydney, the schools got opened in July. And now the teachers are making sure that children come to the playground, because, you know, the social interaction was missing when they were at their homes. So they are made to play almost half of the day, and half of the day is for the classes. So that is happening in Sydney, but in Melbourne, because it is going still bad, COVID is still bad, so they are not allowing it over there. And what all other points I want to say that I have already put it on so that time is saved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Indeed, kind of you. See, that's the beauty of a wonderful human being when you come across a person with multiple decades of experience, that he's saying that I have written down all the points for you. Kindly go through your chat. Wow. I'm so impressed and lots to learn from you, sir. Thank you for sparing your time. Thanks a lot. Next, let's hear from Brigadier Vinod Datta, sir. He's a wonderful, humble human being, and we are very privileged and honored to host him with us. Brigadier Vinod Datta, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Evening, without exchanging any pleasantries, I'm going to come to the subject proper as such, because one of the paradigm shift of education policy is that we should manage our time well, and we have been teaching our students. I'll just give some bullet points to you, being an educationist and a former military leader also. You see, the crux which has come is the cafeteria approach which has been taken in this education policy, that a student can choose, like we go to the cafeteria, we can choose the subjects, or we can choose the dishes. Here, we will be able to choose our subjects, because I had gone to Stanford University, and there, when I was interacting with one of the students, he told me that he's pursuing medicine, with music, or medicine with economics. And I was quite taken aback. But then he said, sir, I am going to be part of the national, governance, so I should know economics also. So that kind of liberty should be given to the students. Another, the point which General Balbir had brought out is that the comprehensive national power, the bedrock is education, and the rich human capital. And the rich human capital can only be given if you have rich education system. Today, the universities are churning out students and giving degrees which are useless. You have to, when you are selecting candidates, you have to reskill them, you have to re-educate them to put them on the job. So what we require is that we must be more professional oriented, more oriented towards the national goals. There are about 320 million students in India, contributes about 52% of the students. We have to dust our instincts and go in for a practical education system. I mean, it is not, you see, most of our national universities, they have lost relevance. If you take the case of Singapore, it was one of the corrupt nations. But thanks to President Lee Kuan, today the National University of Singapore is among 10 best universities of the world. Wisdom. You see, wisdom earlier was being given by people who were like us, who had silver on their head. Today it is being flashed on T-shirts. We have to cut down the the scope of these Zoom schools, WhatsApp universities, or these MS Team seats of learning. The teaching, it should be a passion. It should not be, people should not take it as a job or a profession, because you see, a teacher is a 360-degree leader who's leaving a mark on the students, and most of the students imbibe qualities from them. I'll just take 30 more seconds. I know I'm time critical. You see, another thing is that we must have remedial education to make you professionally employable. And you see, we are churning out, say, about 5 lakh students in engineering, and only 40% people are being placed. We are churning out, say, about 3.2 lakh students who are doing MBA. from tier 1 to tier 2 or 3 business schools, but unfortunately they don't find a job. So there is a frustration among the students. We have to iron out these kinks, and we have to focus on what society wants, what are the aspirations of youth, because we have to, like what Ruby had said and what Dr. Adhikari had said, that we have to focus our goal on the welfare of the state, on how to make a nation proud, because a student ही भारत का मुस्तकबिल है. जय हिंद, जय भारत.
Thank you, Brigadier Vinod Datta sir, for such powerful and empowering words towards the nation youth. I can totally correlate with your words, as I have studied in Australia. I've done my MBA in finance, MBA in psychology, then I did my CA, then I did PhD in artificial intelligence and robotics. See the varied background I have, right from commerce to CA to artificial intelligence. So the good point there was, they give you the leeway to study whatever you want. Even in a degree, they give you whatever subjects you want to study. So it's wonderful. And the second, the wonderful keynote I have taken from your words of wisdom is, we have to create not the job seekers, rather the job creators. That is what our nation needs as of now. The people that the next generation should be the job creators. So thank you for your wonderful words. Huge round of applause for such nice words of wisdom. Thank you. Namaste, sir. And now next we have Mr. Gaurav Jain, as he is popularly known as Mr. Lubricant. See the variety, the varied background, the dynamic human beings that have joined us. Mr. Lubricant, can we have you on the podium? The right house is open for you.
Mr. Yeah, Gaurav thank you Jain. So much, Manish ji.
Huge round of applause for our Mr. Lubricant.
Right, friends, this is Gaurav Jain, and really great to have have me. So first of all, thank you so much, Dr. Munish and Dr. Nancy, to invite me for this wonderful educating session. So I'll just say a few words that it is all about taking initiatives, friends, because see, today life is changing so much fast, after this COVID time, this technology, and we are just bound to this technology. We have no other option left. So we have to come out with some sort of initiatives wherein people start seeing the actual results. I mean, there are people who are creating the results. There are people who are watching the results. Now, what more we can do to change and add value to our education system? How can we make it more interesting? Let's say we can come back to that Gurukul system. Of course, we see in so many villages and few countries, in fact, who are following the system of Gurukul. Plus, 6 hours, like somebody was asking in a chat room, how can we make some student sit for 6 hours, that too online, and you never know what that student is doing. So we have to come out with some interesting solutions for students, right, so that they are stick there. And of course, we have to come out with many practical sessions so that we are giving a particular task, and that is going to be an interesting task. Children are learning lot many things, and then they are further discussing it with their friends. So sometimes it's all about the excitement and this thing. So when you start giving those lessons in an interesting and funny way, and people they come out with so many solutions. Let's say, for example, today we are having so many challenges, friends, right? So many big problems are there in the world. Like there are list of huge problems. Now, when we are making a task, when we are giving it to the students, okay, let's say you are having the power, and now you have to control this situation, you have to control this problem. You won't believe children are coming out with their interesting creative solutions, right? So but there has to be some sort of system wherein they can get heard and they can also start contributing, because you never know, friends, these children are the future. Right, this youth is our future, whether we are talking about school students or college students. But like if I talk about corporate, I'm sure most of you have done the job as well, apart from being the business owner. So there's so much attrition. Why? Stress factors. But what corporate is doing, they are coming up with so many incentives. Let's say they are bringing up the gym or the picnic or some laughing sessions at the corporate, and then plus any cultural activities. Similar thing will be more if they start coming in school and colleges. You never know. they can bring lot many values and lot many opportunities along with solutions to everyone in the world. Because it's, let's say we are talking about innovations, right? Child is the one who don't judge like we do, right? So children, when they come out with different creative ideas, I think this is high time when we can create some simple system, duplicable system, wherein we can start lot getting so many insights, and we just have to follow that, right? So I'm really happy to be here, and everyone is doing really great thought sharing session. So I thank again the MENTORx team, who is always coming up with lot many these educating webinars and adding value, actually creating values in people's lives, and changing the system for the betterment. So thank you so much. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Lubricant, Gaurav Jain. Along with being Mr. Lubricant, he's very, very dear friend of ours. And as he was talking about problems, so I would really want to say that when people like Gaurav Jain, people like Dr. Y.P. Chawla, people, Sangeeta ma'am, and people like Brigadier Vinod, all of you, when all of you are with us, these problems, they become opportunities. Each and every problem is an opportunity in disguise. So thank you, Gaurav, for being with us, always sharing your golden nuggets, and always having such wonderful networking skills with you. We have lots to learn from you. Thank you, Gaurav. Next, we have very empowering Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja. She is the principal interior designer from Urban Interiors, shaping the future with her design thinking. Along with, she is the MENTORx chairperson of MENTORx Women, leading MENTORx Sisterhood Global Solidarity Movement for Women, for Women. Madam Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja, namaste. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words, Dr. Jindal. You are the real strength behind us, to be honest. Thank you so much. I think with listening to everybody, they had a beautiful share today. And as very practical educators, all of us should start changing the letter A from A for apple to A for art, architecture, to skillful knowledge, so that all of us become more practical in learning and more approachable to what we are learning, so that the memory retention stays with us rather than just grasping what we are taught. So I think all the takeaways have been very good today. So thank you so much for this platform, and looking forward for many more opportunities with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you so much, Dr. Sangeeta, for such kind words. And it's always been a humbling experience whenever we come across you. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for being part of MENTORx.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Chaya Darsina from Singapore. Wow. Another dynamic, wonderful, incredible human being. Dr. Chaya, I believe you're there.
Yes, I am. And I would just want to echo.
Been wearing so many hats, leading globally. Earlier, she was the country head for Standard Charter. Now she's the global talent acquisition with Legos. And along with, she's heading MENTORx Singapore. So namaste, welcome. House is open for you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Munish. And I would just want to echo what Dr. Sangeeta just said. I think you are truly the glue behind all of us. And thank you for bringing on such great platform. It's been wonderful being on this webinar for 3+ hours now, not a dull moment. So thank you for the opportunity. I think it is definitely a phenomenal period when the paradigm shift is happening with the new NEP policy for 2020. As an HR leader who's been at the forefront for attracting, recruiting, developing, and rewarding talent for the last 20 years, all the talent that comes out of an education system and a learning mindset, the 3 things that I want to talk about today as my giveaway. Firstly, I think the taste of the pudding is going to be in the eating. So while the policy is great, I am so proud as an Indian, I'm so proud as a mother, I'm so proud for what the future of education would look like for India, but the execution is what's going to be critical. So my 3 things, firstly, is for the children and the educator, there needs to be a more realistic and a deeper connect with the real world. So when the real world, I mean the corporate, the entrepreneurship world. So instead of just focusing on studies and getting the theories and the models, now is the time where the simulation and practical interactions should be more. Secondly, for the educators, I think rewards and recognition needs to be looked into, whether that is in terms of having motivation around remuneration or self-development or continuous learning. But the educators have to be glorified. They have to be put on a greater pedestal, because they are the ones who will be actually executing the great future for the country. And thirdly, it's really important to nurture and develop the entire ecosystem around education. So just not focus on the execution of the policy, but bring all the parts of the ecosystem together, whether it is the skills of networking, resilience building, or having a deeper digital footprint. So nothing can work in isolation. It really has to be a revolution together. It's a huge opportunity, and I would want to close by saying what Dr. Munish said, that no matter wherever we are today, individually or as professionals, the future is going to be nothing but extraordinary. Thank you so much, Dr. Munish and everyone else.
Thank you. Namaste. Wow, wow, wow. What deep insight. Rather sitting there in Singapore and deep insight into the policy and what love for India. See, this is how they say that you can take an Indian out of India, but you can never take India from them. So that is why even me, despite having a green card for Australia, I'm settled in India. So I can see so much of love for India in Dr. Chaya Dharsina's heart. So thank you for sharing your wonderful words. We are indeed heartened with that. And now let us have Mr. S.L. Jain. Mr. S.L. Jain, we would love to hear from you. If you are there, kindly acknowledge. I believe Dr. S.L. Jain is not there.
I'll check with Sir Dr. Jindal. Until the time.
In the meantime, I will ask Madam Vimi Gura if she would love to share quick 2 minutes of her golden nuggets with us. Madam Vimi Gura is from the Ministry of Mauritius, and I would be so humbled to host her if she is available to speak. Ma'am, you there? Vimi Gura, ma'am? I think she is also not there. And so in the meanwhile, till the time being, Dr. Nancy is checking with Mr. S.L. Jain. If any one of you have the queries, we are going to make the mics open for all of you, that you can unmute yourself. Yes, if any one of you have any quick query, kindly feel free to ask.
Exactly. And before that, if we can have Rima ma'am.
Quickly, so that we can wind up our Q&A and quickly head over to our valedictory session. Anyone, any queries?
Fact, many people have posted their queries, Dr. Jindal, in the chat. There's so many of them, and definitely at the end of the session, we understand the sanctity of the time. So we'll pass all these queries to the educationists who joined us, and we'll be mailing questions to them, answers to them, and we'll conclude the session well. And exactly.
And I believe if you are able to connect with Mr. S.L. Jain, then that's fine. Otherwise, we will conclude the session at this note right here, Dr. Nancy Juneja.
Sure. We can move ahead with the session.
And I can Pooja Garg as well, if she would love to share quick 1 minute of her golden nuggets. Dr. Pooja, are you there? We are unmuting you. If you're there, kindly come online. We would love to hear from you. I believe she's also not there. No problem. So I think if Dr. S.L. Jain joins us, wonderful, great. Otherwise, we are concluding this session of today's with the presence of all of the mighty use. It has been happened because of all of you. You know, I'm just a face. I just dress up nicely, wear a tie, wear a blazer, and sit and come on a camera. Whatever is happening, it is happening because of all of you, who all are a pillar of strengths. So you all doing wonderfully great. We have joined hands together. I can see such wonderful smile on Mr. Lubricant's face. Wow, great. As smooth, as oily, as wonderful. So it's the strength, and I can see Atipriya smiling as well. So all of you are our strength. Stay together with us. We are coming up with many more opportunities. Today, you spoke for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and I assure you there are opportunities whereby we are going to make you speak for an hour or even longer, and then you're going to call us hey, don't you think it's 1.5 hours we've been speaking, it's way too long? So your testing times are coming ahead. Today it was just confluence of the educators together on the same platform, and much more is coming ahead. Day after tomorrow, we are doing an artificial intelligence summit in one of the colleges in Bangalore. 12th, we are doing one of the wonderful design thinking and interior architecture summit, Women into Design, under the able leadership of Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja. 11th, I am the official groomer with Miss and Mrs. Universe. And then 13th, we are doing another artificial intelligence summit with another college in Bangalore. Then 15th, we are celebrating, Independence Day in Australia, Indo-Global Cultural Confluence. Then 16th, we are doing Indo-ASEAN, again, how technology would build Indo-ASEAN relationships. Then 19th, we are again coming with Women Empowerment Summit under the able leadership of Dr. Nancy Juneja and Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja. Then 21st, we are doing another program, and that is with we are launching MENTORx School of Learning with Global E-School. That is going to be on a huge level. So you are going to hear much more from us, much more from us. Then again, 26, 27, 28, as I already said, you would have heard confluence of people, confluence of, conferences. Here we are coming with confluences of technology, humanoids, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, biotechnology, nanotechnology, virtual reality, all on one platform, 3 long days, 18 speakers, and whatnot. You will see what future you are going to see, whereby we're going to transport you, Brigadier Vinodata, Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja, Ma'am Gaurav Jain, right sitting there in your homes. We are going to take you to Japan, Spain, and we're going to showcase to you how technology is going to clone you and make you speak Japanese, even if you don't know how to speak Japanese. So that is what we are going to do. And I would really acknowledge that international jewelry designer, Ms. Varsha Jain, has been with us since throughout the session, and we are privileged and blessed to have her presence with us. So on this note, I would conclude today's session. And yes, whatever I've talked about till now, that yes, you are our strength, you are our pillars. Whatever I'm doing, I'm the face, but the foundation stone is Dr. Nancy Juneja. So thank you, Dr. Nancy Juneja, for being there always and making things happen. And on this wonderful note, I would love to conclude, and I'm always thankful and grateful to Dr. YP Chawla, who always spares, despite it's been too late in Australia, it's way past his sleeping time, still he's sitting there, right, energized, and he's always keeps on inspiring us. And last but not the least, thank you to entire our audience for always joining there just at a click of one WhatsApp message. We just shoot that MENTORx cordially invites you, and they all are there. And thank you for all of you being there. We have wonderful certificates of appreciation for all of you. And I would quickly like to showcase for the ones who are present here.
Yeah, and before that, sorry to interrupt, Dr.
Yes.
Jindal. I just saw in the chat that ma'am is available. Just a sec.
Vimi Gura ma'am?
Yes, yeah.
Wow, then we will love to hear for quick 1 or 2 minutes, and then we will quickly showcase the certificates. Kindly, yes, ma'am Vimi Gura, please kindly come online. We have unmute yourself and come online, please. Vimi Gura ma'am. Okay. No problem. Nancy,
yes, hello. Good evening, everybody. Sorry, Dr. Monish, I was taken up. I'm sorry. But it was very enlightening to listen to all the speakers, and I learned a lot. And I am really thankful and grateful to you for the invite. And I believe that education, innovation, creativity will be very important in the future. So I think that we are also putting in practice in Mauritius. We had also the pandemic of COVID-19, and a lot of learning is going online. And we are going to learn a lot from you as well as we implement online education for Mauritius. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm sorry for not being there later on, earlier on, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Vimi Gura, for sparing your valuable time and sparing your wonderful, sharing your wonderful words, and for your kind and appreciative tone always. Thank you for always being with us. With my folded hands, the soul within me honors the soul within you. Thank you for all the way from Mauritius for being with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now let me quickly share our start the valedictory session and conclude it for good. And here we have the wonderful certificates for the ones who are present. Mr. Ati Priye, thank you for being here. Can I see you on the camera if you're there, for participating as our eminent speaker in the panel discussion. Thank you for being with us. This is a detailed certificate of appreciation for your kind presence. This will also be emailed to you by our team.
Thank you so much.
And then we have Brigadier Vinod Datta. Yes, the man himself, always being with us, always smiling, so empowered, and always empowering others. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us. Just a little gesture, token of love from my side. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Grateful. It was a great platform.
Indeed blessed, sir. Dr. Chayadhar Sinha, we are indeed privileged to have you all the way from Singapore. Thank you for being with us. A little token of appreciation from our side. Dr. Y.P. Chavla, all the way from Australia, leaving his sleep, and thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Dr. Jindal, sorry to interrupt. We are joined by Dr. S.L. Jain, Director, Mahavir Jain School, and I'll love to show his certificate too, but before that, we love him to speak.
Yes, we would love him to speak first.
So we have Dr. S.L. Jain with us.
Hello.
I'm deeply humbled,
Hello.
sir, that you've been with us here. And I, tell you with folded hands that being educationist, I guess patience is something we're blessed with. Being here throughout, listening and sharing to worthy educationists since, the evening. And now I feel we are filled with knowledge, wisdom, and we look forward to add a little more by your esteemed session, sir. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, very much,
Hello.
sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Good
Perfect.
evening. Thank you very much. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
very much. And I enjoyed and I listened with great interest all the speeches and the presentations and by Dr. Gill. And later on, there were many presentations on micro level and very interesting tips were also given. And about paradigm shift, and very learned speakers were talking. But you see, my anxiety is about the paradigm shift with regard to macro level, that in India, there are about 50%, 60% students who are going to private schools. And when they are going to private schools, then you see the atmosphere in the last 10 years is such that this private school system is being damaged and is being attacked upon by the authorities, by the governments, and by the media also. And the parents also have organized themselves in such a manner that there is a lot of damage that is being done. Now this should be stopped, and somehow or the other, because if there is no private-public partnership, then a lot of damage will be done, because the governments, though constitutionally it is their duty to promote education, but government by itself is not able to do. And there are many people who are coming and helping in this education of school children, and their infrastructure and world-class facilities and teacher training facilities, etc., are also there. And parents want best education, but somehow or the other, the governments all over, and if many of us are perhaps aware of the litigations that are going on all across India and in all the states, because the government is saying, don't charge fees, don't do this, don't do that, and school leaving certificate will also have to be given even if the parent is not paying the fees, even if the parent is able to pay the fees. So you see, the system has to continue. And if the system has to continue, then it has to be supported also by legal means, by directions, and by other things. So that way, I think we are getting a big beating. And that paradigm shift, and we have to organize ourselves, because new education policy when it talks about lot of flexibility and lot many things about the 5 years of pre-primary education and then later on middle and senior secondary. So there is a lot of movement is allowed, and but you see the empowerment of teachers, empowerment of schools, autonomy of schools, where is that? No one is talking about that. And unless and until the teachers are empowered, the school's autonomy is not respected with regard to taking certain major decisions, then I think the whole education system is going to collapse. So yes, I heard many speakers, and they gave very at micro level very interesting and very useful tips, which are to be taken and which I have noted down, and we shall carry them to our staff room and to our children and to our teachers also, so that they can take those things. But somehow or the other, I feel that we, particularly, since in the past 50 years, for the last 50 years, I'm in the school education and in the school sector. So my little humble prayer to you all is that we should educate and inform all our authorities and powers to be, to help the schools becoming strong, and their spirits should not be dampened. They should be encouraged to continue to do the good work that they are doing. These are my thoughts, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thanks to Dr. Chawla and everyone, and Dr. Nancy Juneja. The seminar, webinar was going on so good, and I had to take leave. But I have just now given the link to Dr. Kusum Jain. She is also a great educationist, and I think she will join. And if possible, and you can give her 2 minutes, that will be wonderful. So
Sure,
thank you.
sir. It's all
Thank
our
you very
pleasure to have you, esteemed educationists, with us. It's all your blessings that we new buds are also growing into a flower. Otherwise, it is you educationists who've been there in the system since long and continuing to, revamp it, re-strategize it. So
No, I
thank you
heard
for the blessings.
heard
Thank
the
you so
ambassador
much.
of Switzerland and Dr. Tindal and Dr. Gill and everyone. I mean, yes, it was good, but there were so many speakers and they were taking so much of time. And when it could have been a little more structured. Well, these suggestions I'll give not at this point, but
Indeed, sir. But I'll give you one more suggestion. As I started from the beginning, if we have to build a nation, we are building the biggest tribe of educators. So no matter the time, exceeds or all, we are at MENTORx are aiming to build the biggest tribe of educators ever on this globe. It feels good when we are there with each other. It feels good when we are hearing each other. Yeah, indeed, sir.
Thank you for
Deeply
being
humbled by
Mr. Satveer Lal Jain, sir. It was indeed empowering to hear you. And as you rightly said that there were so many speakers, I really want to let you know that we have so many educators and academicians associated with us that we are coming series 2 and series 3. We had to keep them on hold. Trust me, we have close to 150 academicians and educators have joined hand for this. So
I know. I was there at 5. I was there at 4:58. I joined at 4:58, and
wonderful, sir.
Great intent and great attention, and took notes of all the points of all the speakers. And if I get it typed, you may be also having it. And if some booklet or some publication can be presented and sent to us online, then that will be of great use to us, because you see the suggestions that come in these webinars, people prepare a lot. When they prepare and these things are spoken, and then they just they go in smoke. So that should not be allowed. And if a little pamphlet, and nowadays it doesn't cost, if someone is taking notes and they can make out all the points that have been said, the relevant points, of course, a lot of filtration will have to be done. And if a 3-pager or 2-pager bullet points can be given, then I think all the school heads and school principals who were there, I know Dr. V.P. Tandon and Dr. Hazel Bhardwaj and so many of my friends in Delhi, they were all there. So I think every one of us will use it, and they will go to all the teachers of the, then it will go to thousands and lakhs of people. So I think that effort should also be done by MENTORx.
Indeed, sir. It's a wonderful suggestion from you, sir. And we definitely would get it printed. The booklet for today's summit, Edu Summit 2020, as rightly said by Dr. Jindal, will have series 2 and 3 and will compile as many educators as we can under one roof. Thank you so much for the suggestions.
With everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Namaste. And
Yeah.
yes, we kindly call upon whosoever we are.
Moving ahead, I would love to, rather appreciate also for the patience and invite with us very esteemed Mr. Arvind Lee, who is heading Riverdale School in Delhi. It is indeed a pleasure, sir, to have you here. And somehow I feel it's your passion in education that speaks about you. You have been doing wonderful projects, not just the Riverdale School, but you've been into schools engineering, the management, the back office, and you're doing wonderful by the projects, Meg Grace projects. You're actually doing great back office as well as front lead. So we want to hear from you, sir, Mr. Arvind.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. It was pleasure listening to all the talk from the eminent speakers.
Great, sir. And we love to, if you can on your video, it'll be wonderful, sir.
Actually, it's been almost like 3 hours sitting, so I'm not actually able to show my face.
Great.
So maybe the next session, I would come out better suited and would be more elaborate.
Indeed, sir. Indeed, sir.
So coming back to the point, I was really basically concerned that none of the speakers actually addressed the point of what the new education policy is going to be and how much take and how much change or impact the policy is going to bring to the students and to the general perspective all about. All of us are just basically concerned for our own existence. Okay. Now, point number one, education has never been an industry. Nancy, I'm just trying to reiterate your first point that I noted. You have been emphasizing that education as an industry. Education is not an industry. Point number one. Now, if I were to tell you about my background, I started as an educational consultant, creating institutions, wherein I created institutions, I created engineering colleges, management colleges, and universities. Now, if I were to tell you my background, I graduated from an engineering college, did my master's in tool engineering, and established an OEM manufacturing unit for many organizations, including Indian Defense. From there and then on, a friend of mine was scouting for somebody's help to help him establish an engineering college, and I ventured out to help him. So that is almost like 15 years back. That is from where I started, providing my services to many engineering colleges. I had the opportune time to go and interact with all the accrediting bodies. That is when I came to know how they function. Okay. Now, not only is the back of establishment of the school important, but back of establishment of any institution is also of the same gator. You have to do one step at a time. Now, all the educationists on the panel right now have got equal importance and equal stake vis-a-vis growth of the industry, if you were to count as an industry. Now, when I say industry, or when I say the role of the students, role for the progress of the development of the economy, the educationists play a very, very big game. Are you getting what I'm saying? No, I would want that we create a more interactive session than just a discourse giving session wherein I'm just coming out and giving something and I don't know how many people are taking it. Because end of the day, the system in India is for a change now. This change was initially done in 2010 by the then government, but somehow I don't want to get into politics. It was rolled back and again it has been re-brought in. And I think it's a wonderful impact that is going to come out now, okay? Now, the thing that I'm looking forward to is, as Mr. Jan just rightly said, is the concern is very genuine. When I am sitting on the same side as Mr. Jan is sitting, I understand the kind of pressures the management is facing. But equally strong is the point of the government that for which all the institutions are allowed to set up. Like for example, an insurance company, they are set up as a fiduciary. Similarly, an institution are allowed to set up to actually impart education. Now, if you were just contemplate and think on one aspect that how we are going to gain, without realizing that importance is that yes, we are generating money. How much money we are establishing, honestly, is also equally important. Okay. Now, with the new policy paradigm that is going to come in, lot of new investments towards education, because I told you I'm into project management. I'm also helping a lot of my principals based out of India who are looking forward to tying up, physical tying up. You know, we have had a lot of, you know, just mutual tie-ups wherein, you know, you would have some Swiss universities doing some tie-ups in India. You might have some Hong Kong-based university doing tie-up in India. Now you would have physical outright takeovers. A lot of institutions would physically and outright take over the systems. Now, if the mindset is not cohesive in nature of the Indian stakeholders, the Indian educationists, believe you me, they will perish. They will not sustain the pressures. If they did not sustain right up till now, they will not exist from now on. Now, these were the lines, and this was the important topic that I was wanting or expecting of the people of the stature of so many of your speakers to count on and speak. Instead of that, you know, we were talking about all the other areas of point, which, you know, actually COVID taught us the other things, which is a process, you know, COVID or no COVID. Because I think thanks to COVID, we actually learned so many things which in a normal process we wouldn't have. Okay. So I think everything is very positive. And believe you me, education is very basic. आप education को simplify कर लीजिए. Education has lot to teach. India has been, always been, since ages, 5,000 years, 3,000. Nalanda was so old when we were actually givers of education to the world. We are still the same. Okay. Now the point is there that all of us have to uniformly get along, do the thing synergetically, help the government understand that yes, we are there for them, because end of the day, the deliverance has to be counted on the government's role. But we have to make government understand that yes, we are there by them, and do the exact role play. I don't know how wrong I am and how people are taking it, because I have been helping many foreign companies establish their products in India. I just heard the lubricant man. In fact, I must tell you that 2017, I actually bought a lubricant from a US-based lubricant into India and launched it. And it is still a very big success model, wherein we actually venture to the Indian defense and to the top of the Indian R&D and went across and gave the presentations. The project management entails and allow us to reach for the places where no man and no individual has ever gone before. And that is what I've been doing, not from today, but since last more than 25 years of my existence. So that is where the education is. Simplify the education, make people realize what they are learning is how it is going to give, they have to contribute to the society, because the moment they realize that the deliverance part of it, the earlier they will actually be able to establish. Instead of asking more from the government, you should put a quotient towards yourself, how much you can give back to the government. Not only just the taxes, but the other things is also equally important. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. And we are extremely sorry to interrupt you here, and that we just had 2 minutes. And the golden nuggets you're sharing, the words of wisdom and intellect, we really want a complete session from your side of close to 1.5 hours. And you have to agree right now on the public platform that you are going to commit your time to us, that you are going to give us your time and your session for an hour or so that all the educators, they can take the good benefit of your expertise.
Yeah, surely, I'm there for you.
So nice of you, indeed kind of you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for all your expertise. Namaste from my side. I'm the founding president of MENTORx. Thank you for being with us.
Namaste, namaste and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Jai Hind, sir, Jai Hind. And now we are quickly going to start with our valedictory session so that I can quickly showcase the wonderful certificates that have been made for all of you. And, you know, before starting that, I really want to acknowledge the person who has, you know, connected all the dots. The way we have all the dots, all the wires, and someone who comes in and they connect them, they make the things happen. That is Miss Pailgar, the founder and CEO of Advert Archive. She is the outreach partner for RevUp, for robotics, for MENTORx, along with she is the CXO for MENTORx. Now it is a task for all of you to look for what is a CXO. Okay. And CXO is someone who provides a wonderful experience to the people around. So that is what Ms. Palgarg is doing. So thank you, Ms. Palgarg, for making this happen. We acknowledge wholeheartedly all your efforts and all the things that you have done. And these beautiful certificates are being made, designed, and carved by Ms. Palgarg itself. Thank you for being with us. So quickly showcasing certificates for all of you who so all are present. Mr. Gaur, we have Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja from Urban Interiors. Thank you for being with us. And here's a humble, kind certificate of appreciation for your side. I don't know why you guys are not able to see my screen. I started sharing this again, once again. God. Let me start sharing again. Just give me a second, guys.
Should I
Just
share
give me
it,
a second,
sir?
guys. We're fixing it up. We're fixing the screen sharing issue. So just give us a second.
Till the time, I would love if Dr. Pooja is here and Dr.
Yes,
Pooja
Dr.
Garg.
Pooja is here. We had a word with her. She has internet connectivity issues, so she won't be able to speak. I already had a word with her.
Great.
So yes, Dr. Nancy trying to be little proactive as we are already a little,
Yeah, we're not hosting everyone. Basically, we cannot do much on the virtual meet. So right here are the certificates and the closing ceremony for you. Yes, we have Dr. Kavalgil with us, and I would love to.
Yes, are you guys? Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, now we can see Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja.
For Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja from Urban Interiors and the chairperson MENTORx Women. Thank you for being with us, Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja. Thanks a lot. A little token of love and appreciation. Do we have Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja for the acknowledgement? She's here. Guys, we are putting the mics on the system that you can unmute yourself, and so
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You can quickly acknowledge. Thank you. Thank you, Sangeeta ma'am. This is for Mr.
We have Dr. Kavalgil with us at the moment.
Ma'am, I'm just for the certificate. Yeah. Give me a second. I will come on that file as well. So, do we have Mr. Gaurav Jain? Mr. Gaurav Jain is here. Dr. YP Chawla is here. Thank you, Dr. YP Chawla, for always sparing your time, always being with us. And I know I have lived in Australia. It's right now, even way past midnight. Still, you are there, awake. And thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. With both my folded hands, namaste to you. Thank you. Then now, let me quickly shift on to another file. And
I saw Dr. Kavalgil's certificate before Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja's. It is right there.
Another certificate. Ma'am, I'm giving Nancy, ma'am.
Yeah, actually, I'm all the more eager to see the honor of my mentor in front of me. So probably I'm excited.
You have to keep little patience for 2 minutes. We're fixing everything. Yes, I believe all of you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes.
Yeah, so finally we have it here.
Yes, kindly acknowledge Dr. Nancy.
Yeah, I want Dr. Kavalgil to acknowledge.
I am there, Nancy. I'm always there for you. And this is my first instance that I've witnessed, the kind of programs that you do. I think I can contribute. That is what you want me to do that.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely.
It was
Keep me
very
humble,
well.
ma'am.
No. Don't say that. Don't say that. I mean, we're all there to support you. We've been doing that for long, and anything and everything for you.
Indeed, that's the beauty of staying connected with each and every mentor who comes into your life for years ahead. And that is, the live example how a candle can light herself and can spread light everywhere. So thank you so much for being with us. We'll be sharing all our endeavors of MentorX with you, and we look forward to your continuous support.
Thank you.
And I think I would like to present Dr. Mangat Bansal's certificate as well to Mr. YP Chawla. So this would be as sending email as well to Mr. Mangat Bansal. Thank you. Then we have Dr. Nishit Mishra. Wow. Again, the man who shared all his wisdom and expertise so humbly and so heartedly with us. We are indeed privileged to host you, Dr. Nishit, with us. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Munish Jindal and Dr. Nancy Juneja, YP Chawla, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Then we have Mr. G.S. Adhikari with us. So humbly acknowledging Dr. G.S. Adhikari. Thank you for being with us. Thanks a lot. Then, yes, Miss Rinku Gautam. Then we have Dr. Tanveer Naved. Then Miss Hazel Bhardwaj and Dr. Santanu Das and Mr. P.N. Washington. Thank you for all of you for being with us, and rest who couldn't wait for the valedictory session, as it's true in India that people, they speak and then they leave. They don't wait for others to listen. So we have to change this mindset as well in India. So thank you for all of you for being with us. All the rest of the ones who couldn't wait, their certificates would duly be sent to them. And yes, I can see Mr. Ati Priya on screen, and I would love to share his certificate and would love to honor him with our little token of appreciation from our side. Wow, I'm so glad to see you. I want to say that Mr. Ati Priya joined me around 3 years back, and I have seen him progressing like anything. This man dynamically progressed. I would say he has progressed 1,000-fold just in front of my eyes, and I'm super proud of him from where he started and what he has become today. He is indeed a true inspiration. Someone who wants to know the dynamism of how to grow yourself and how to outgrow yourself in a very short span of time. He must reach out to Mr. Ati. So yes, I be sharing the certificate so that we be able to. Just give me a second. Yes. I hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Now, there you go. Thank you, Mr. Atipriya. Thank you for joining me and being with us. It's a little token of love and a certificate of appreciation for you. And team is going to send you in the email as well. Thank you for always being with us. And quickly now, acknowledging Mr. N.M. Bhatia for being with us, Mr. Atipriya, Mr. S.L. Jain, Ms. Shalini Mishra, Brigadier Vinod Datta, Dr. Rishita Garg, Dr. Chayadar Sinha, Dr. YP Chawla, Mr. Gaurav Jain, Mr. Tintrovic from Croatia, Dr. Gurmeet Kaur Gill, Dr. Gaurav Arora, Dr. Hema Raghavan, Mr. Atish Bagola, Dr. Sangeeta Ahuja, Mr. Gaurav Gupta, Mr. Surinder Khurana, Mr. Mukesh Bhatnagar, Dr. Ruby Bakshi Khurdi, Ms. Reema Kohli, Mr. Ikrant Sharma, Mrs. Anka Verma, Lieutenant General Bargeet Singh Sandhu, Mr. Arvind Tuli, Mr. Ashish Bhatnagar. Thank you all of you for being with us as our eminent speakers for today. And wow, our dear Professor Santanu Das is here. Wow.
Yeah, so we have Dr. Shantana and we have Dr. Rachna Agarwal also with us. So thank you so much for being with us till the closing ceremony. Over to you, Dr. Jindal.
Thank you, Dr. Shantanu, for being with us. with both my folded hands. My soul honors your soul, and we have very beautiful long-term plans that are going to unfold. And we invite entire clan of educationists to be part of our global cultural Indo-global celebrations that we're doing with Australia on Independence Day, and then 26th, 27th, 28th of August, the confluence of technologies with Sheshadripuram First Grade College, Yalanka Newtown, Bangalore, under the able leadership of Dr. Santanu Das. Thank you. On that concluding note, we sign off for tonight. Wish all of you a very wonderful weekend ahead. Enjoy for Saturday night and have a wonderful weekend. Over to you, Dr. Nancy Juneja. Kindly conclude today's education summit as it was the brainchild idea of Dr. Nancy Juneja. Thank you. Namaste from the founding president. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Deeply humbled, Professor Santanu Das here to join us again. And we have, I feel we have Dr. Rachna Agarwal with us. Do we have Rachna ma'am with us here? I just saw in the chat. And it's indeed humbling experience. You know, the real...
No, ma'am. No, Dr. Nancy, she's not here.
Great. It is the real...
Kindly conclude, Dr. Nancy. Now let's free everyone so that they can have their nice weekend and dinner.
Exactly, exactly.
You have held all of them for a dinner. So you have to assure everyone now when the things are fine, you are organizing this summit for real, and we are taking them for a wonderful lavish dinner along with the summit.
Indeed, indeed. That's a promise from MENTORx team, as we are known for holding the biggest summits, and we are holding the biggest hospitality also of all our educationists who joined us. See, it's been a virtual summit and it's been such a lively summit. I love to see the patience, the eagerness in each one's eyes, be it attendees, be it educationists who joined us. Thank you so much from entire MENTORx team. As we said, growing the tribe of educators is building our nation. And we stick with it. And the vision of MENTORx will always be right there. Educate, empower, elevate. So please wish you a very nice weekend. And I suppose I would love to have my certificate also, but since it's not there, so we close the ceremony. And we, you know, being deeply grateful.
You are the chairperson of MENTORx. You should be giving the certificates. You shouldn't be asking for the certificates.
Yeah, but everybody needs an appreciation and a pat on your back, sir. So just for that. So no worries. We close the note here and we wish you everyone a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the day, stay safe, and join us again as we are here at MENTORx striving for the best. Thank you.